I said I start the recap. Just about playing and help out on it. Get someone say.
Your mic sounds rough, my friend.
Yeah, it's just currently my headphones.
Okay, yeah, much more clear. Yeah, I guess we can just start this recap, and he'll get here when he gets here, I suppose. So, last session began as the party had just relocated and removed a possessive ghost from Renwick's person. A massive pit of sand separates the party from yet another room in this temple/dungeon. Also discovering some lingering ghosts that look to be enthralled by the goings on in the pit. Finding out that the pit is some sort of test, the players press forward. Spikes, walls of sand, animated hands, quicksand, and even some sand-like doppelgangers do their best to prevent the party from crossing this magical sand pit. Some found it easier than others, but the party does all find their way across, discovering that the room on the opposing wall of this sand pit is a tomb or resting place of this arachnid humanoid like king or hero that this temple is dedicated to. Surrounded by tombs of his servants and loved ones, after making an offering, the spirit of this being briefly made contact with the party, giving his blessing to take the Allcaster. The party then opens the crypt, removes the Allcaster, replacing it with their offerings, and then moves on, searching a few more rooms, discovering a few items in the slain beholder's lair, and encountering and avoiding a gelatinous cube. The party, Allcaster in tow, take a long rest at the entrance to this dungeon or temple. However, not before Blade sends Archie once more down an unexplored portion of the hallway, one that slowly fills with fog, and Archie encounters another owl, one identical to himself, just before Blade lost his link to Archie being destroyed. With that, we'll say that the party awakens after a long rest, only a few hours before the entrance or exit, I guess, is set to open. And that is kind of where we are now. So after the party has successfully claimed a long rest, you're looking at probably like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night type of a situation. And you guys would know that the temple door is set to open at midnight. So full rest in tow. You guys still have a couple of hours before this door opens, and we'll pick up from there. So tell me how you guys proceed.
All right, 2 quick points of order, Sean. I just want to confirm before we move on. We officially get the long rest, so everybody is clear to hit long rest on their sheets after, 8 fucking combats?
Could have been more. You guys could have kept going.
That's fair. My other point, I just want to clarify. So with that trident that I got in the last session, I applied a +2 trident to my sheet and then just altered it to say all the extra parameters and stuff. Gave Renwick proficiency now that he's attuned to it. Technically, a trident is a strength-based weapon, but because this is a wondrous item that I assume is heavily geared toward my character and a homebrew item, is it possible to use dexterity in place of strength for this weapon? Or am I taking, it's a +2 to hit, but I only net a +5 instead of my normal +9 because it's a strength-based weapon? How does that work? Or can I apply my dexterity bonus to this?
That is a good question. Let me flip through some notes I have real quick, and I will get back to you on that. I don't have the
Fair
answer
enough.
right in front of me. I'll find it for you. Give me just a second.
I really want to use this trident, but if it's going to be a +5 instead of a +9, then it makes no sense whatsoever.
Just give it to the bard. I'll use it for RP.
I think there's only one strength-based combatant in our party. So if I can't use my dexterity bonus, I think Gladier's getting a fancy new magical weapon.
Yeah,
Well, if he doesn't want it, I'd use it and just mix it with my magical stuff, so get all the benefits and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, because you can, if it's your pact weapon, doesn't it use your charisma bonus instead of whatever it's normal?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The nice
That's
part
cool.
about
Oh, you know what?
Hexblade.
I wonder if I can bypass that when I level up then.
No, because it's a Hexblade Warlock feature.
Yeah, but I'm multi-classing in Warlock, and I'm putting more
But you
points into Warlock, so...
But you did Fathomless, and it's at level
Oh, shit,
1.
that's right. I was thinking it was, like what do they call it? Eldritch Invocation. I was thinking the wrong thing there.
Yeah, no, it's called Hex Warrior, so you get proficiency in medium armor, shields, martial weapons, and then when you make a touch weapon that you are proficient with, it uses your charisma instead of strength or dexterity. But
Fair
you
enough.
have to reattach to it, or until you get back to the blade, and then it just transfers over.
Well, in that case, if Sean allows me to use it as a finesse weapon, I guess, then I'll stick with the trident, and if not, I'll toss it over to you. And
Okay,
you can
so
just go buck
use-
fucking wild.
here's what I'll say about the trident. Because if you want to acquire it as a weapon, that's fine. But the trident typically comes with the versatile ability, which is the ability to wield it either one or two handed, and that applies to the difference in damage. I will say you can, if you would like, we can replace the versatility with like a finesse that allows you to use your dexterity instead of your strength. But I'm not going to give you both. But we could replace the homebrew the stat to be a finesse rather than rules as written.
I would love that, because I was actually I fight specifically with an offhand weapon just based on my class and the way I've built it with crossbow master. So I would primarily be using it as a one-handed weapon anyway. So if you'll allow me to just skip the versatile trait, take the D6 as its base damage die, and use it as a finesse weapon, and I'll keep my rapier or whatever equipped, so I know what my to hit would be. So that would effectively, with a +2 weapon, make my to hit with the trident a +10, but I can only use it as a one-handed weapon for a d6 of damage +2.
Correct. That sounds legit to me. Sounds right.
Or yeah, or I guess if I'm using it as a finesse, it'd be +7. But all right, yeah, sweet, awesome. Thank you so much. I just wanted to clarify that before we move forward and get in a combat, and I have to stall the game to figure out how my weapon works.
Yeah, man, sounds good. Sounds good. For sure.
Sick. Well, that being said, Blade, do you have any insight on what happened to Archie in that hallway, or how we should proceed with this?
Well, he was flying, and similar owl. In fact, it looked just like him. Flew right past, and then I got nothing, and then it went black. Oh, he's gonna be pissed.
All right, so Archie was just flying down this hallway. All of a sudden, saw his doppelganger, and then just went poof.
Yes.
Well, that sounds like another trap. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen apparitions of ourselves. I mean, there's something like that in the sandpit. So, might be a running joke. Whoever laid these traps, seeing yourself for them to kill you.
No. Blade will kind of pull out the the vial of sand there, kind of what our tracker there of time, and kind of glance at it, and look and see that we've got a few hours before those doors reopen, and he'll kind of look at the party and be like, "Do you think it's worth it to resummon Archie again? I know time's kind of running short."
Well,
Well,
I
as
mean,
much as
so
I'd like to
far,
see.
sorry, I was going to say so far, Archie and Logos has been the ones setting off all the traps. So
Well, we've still got Logus. We'll just send him in then.
that's what I'm thinking. Use his elven eyes.
That being said, if we've only got a couple hours left, I don't really want to be stuck in this temple for another day. So if it takes you an hour to summon Archie, then it's probably best that we just give him a rest. After all, I think he might want a break from, dying on repeat as our guinea pig.
You're right. And Logus, do you disagree? No. Okay, great.
All right, so maybe we just would okay to avoid metagaming. Would Blade have been able to pick up what kind of trap it was through Archie to see if it's something that Glader would be, helpful in avoiding?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing, because I mean it was a substantial amount of psychic damage, so like I don't know if I would have been able to pick up on anything like that.
Blade, as far as you could recall, this just happening a few hours before, you for sure recall Archie encountering what appeared to be himself within the fog. And, it wasn't necessarily a negative, encounter. It was more confusing, yeah, if anything. And then, as to when and where the psychic damage came from, not sure. I believe you had rolled not so great on your perception check through Archie. So
No, it was terrible.
Yeah. Okay, so I think in that, without knowing what kind of trap it was, Glader probably would stick with how they've been doing things and, you know, pull up rear, but still kind of give them the same safe distance they have been, letting them look ahead.
I'll be like 5 feet behind Logus, I guess diagonally, trying to help him keep an eye on things.
okay, so the party kind of assumes this formation you guys have kind of been sticking to throughout this dungeon here, and you guys press on down the center hallway, past the room that was once an alchemy lab, past the archway that leads to the spiral staircase down to the sand pit, and on through this dark, dusty corridor. And as you press onward, Renwick, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Uh, 17.
That's enough. You and Logus's passive is obnoxious. So the two of you, you manage to spot as you guys kind of creep down this hallway little by little. It looks like up ahead there, it continues straight, but it seems like a low fog begins to roll in, and it obscures your vision after a time. But currently, 10, maybe 15 feet away from where this fog begins, but it's definitely thick enough to obscure your vision. So what does the party do from here?
As we
Renwick.
approach the fog, I want to cast Dispel Magic, which is at 4th level.
And as he does that, Renwick just takes a a pull off of his flask.
All right. So dispel magic. Give me the parameters on that spell, if you don't mind.
All right, hang on, let me pull it up. All right, range of 120 feet, creature, object, or magical effect. Any spell, in this case, it'll be 4th level or lower on the target ends. Otherwise, have to make an ability check if it's a magical effect.
It is definitely a magical effect, and I think if it meets, it beats 14, right? So is that?
Yeah, if it's a 4th level spell, then it's automatically dispelled.
Okay, yeah, with 120 feet, as you kind of cast this spell, kind of describe to me how your magic would like dissipate this hallway full of fog.
So since I use my Morning Star as a focus, I hold it up, and black tendrils just climb out of the spikes, and just a wall of force moves through and just pushes this fog out of the way. Or something like that.
And as the fog kind of parts, it's a familiar, dark, dusty corridor. The fog looks to like try to be reforming, but can't quite pull it off. It's definitely going to need some time to reform. But for the time being, 120 feet clears the entire hall, and you guys make your way through this trap unmolested, believe it or not.
Renwick will just look back at Blade and hand him the flask and be like, I'm really glad we brought that guy.
Yeah, he's not too bad. Take a swig of it.
Let go of your dicks. Let's keep moving.
All right.
Okay, so as you guys continue past this, dispelled fog, you guys move forward, and Renwick and Logos leading the charge. You guys eventually come to what is essentially a dead end, but rather than being a dead end outright, it is just a large stone door with a tombstone engraved upon it. 4 spinning dials are expertly laid into the door. Each dial is set to the letter of the alphabet. Currently, all 4 dials are set to the letter A. And the inscription on the tombstone reads as follows. From the moment we take our first breath until the day we meet our death, a beautiful and precious endeavor we call, and it is just a blank where a word should be carved.
Life. Before Renwick jumps in.
God damn it.
I was thinking love.
I was actually going to ask Sean to drop the language in the chat because I was focusing so much on part of it that I forgot the other. So I might be out on this one.
Life is the magic word there, buddy. As you pop it into this 4 little dials, the locking mechanism disengages, and the door, has a bit of give.
Maybe look for traps before we go pushing this thing open.
Renwick will just nod at him and go, acknowledging everything he's done in this hallway as he moves forward to inspect.
Okay, give me an investigation check.
That's a 9.
Looks good to go.
Yep. Can I try the door knob?
Say that again.
Can I try to open the door?
Oh, absolutely. As you push the door open, torches placed on the walls burst into life within the room, and you guys are looking into this room, and there are 9 separate golden shimmering sarcophagi, each with a marble base. Placed atop it is a golden gem encrusted box, on top of which is a beautiful, intricate statue that seems to be made of gold and with rare stones placed liberally amongst it. Each statue topper kind of depicts what you assume is who is laid to rest within. Depicted, laying to rest at in a stoic pose, and each of these golden sarcophagi has a golden latch, and this golden latch is locked with a golden padlock. But there are 9 extravagant large gold statues that are just littered with precious gems, and they are of varying races.
So, do we want to leave these gems and let them fight whatever ghost comes out, or are we going to be greedy?
Yeah,
I mean,
this seems like a trap, right? I mean,
well, it's definitely a trap, or at the very least, it makes us grave robbers, and karma has a way of biting us in the ass. But at the same time, I mean,
I think that platinum and gold hoard we just pulled a few hours ago, probably more than what any of these gems are worth. I'd like to spend a charge on detect magic.
After you spend a charge of your wand on detect magic, every single sarcophagus in the room lights up and has emanating a powerful energy.
What school?
Between the lot of them, it's mixed. So there are several schools of magic in play here.
All right, yeah. So the gems aren't lighting up, but the sarcophagus is. So I'm assuming that they'll come to life and, bitch slap you. Just a thought.
I think we've done pretty well with avoiding needing to, fight the creatures in the sarcophagi, especially after the last one, with the Drider and whatnot. So I'm not entirely opposed to turning down all this treasure. I mean, my coin purse is pretty fucking full at this point.
Well, maybe we could just try one.
Yeah, mage hand the gem. See what happens.
Go for it. Let us know how it goes.
Player's gonna kind of stand. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the range on Turn Undead. Our Turn Unholy. The Fiend Undead. 30 feet. So he's gonna kind of stand close by and just kind of holding his divine amulet and just gonna look a little uneasy, but he's just waiting to see if anyone decides to try and disturb some of these sarcophagi.
Are the gems loose up top, or are they like in a socket of some kind? Like, could I try to jiggle one loose with a blunted arrow?
Yeah, you want to use a blunted arrow and fire it out of your bow, or are you just gonna try to wrestle it out of the stone?
Okay, guys, hear me out. About everyone stand outside of the hallway. Gladiator, you stand by the door. I'm gonna try to shoot an arrow at the gem, see what happens. See if it falls to the floor, nothing happens, we're good to go. But if a fucking something comes running out, then I'll run back that way. You slam the door shut, we're good to go. Anybody opposed?
So how far was the doorway from I guess, if the sarcophagi that we're going to be shooting at?
The room contains 9 sarcophagi, and I'd say, you've got about 20 feet or so from the door to the opposing wall in this room. So it's not very. It's about 20 feet by. Let's see here. It's about, if you're using graph paper, it's about 20 by 60, and the tombs are spaced evenly apart. About 5 feet along the whole, basically the whole perimeter of the room, aside from the wall that the door is on. All the other walls in this room are littered with these sarcophagi.
Okay, so Blade would stand by the doorway, kind of looking at Logos if to be making the shot, and would have his mage hand out ready, basically down below, like if you were to shoot that gem and it would fall, he could just grab it.
Okay, yeah. So I guess Logos, I'll probably need you to give me an attack roll to see if we can't knock one of these gems loose. But first, you'll have to tell me this: which sarcophagi are you going to shoot at? You have 9 different targets, and they each depict some sort of individual, fallen hero of the past or whatnot. There is an elven warrior, a dwarven warrior, a human wizard, a gnome sorcerer, a half-orc cleric, a half-elf paladin, a halfling rogue, or a dragonborn bard, or a tiefling ranger. Which of these statues do you try to knock the gem loose on?
Which one do we think would be easier to beat in combat? Um,
Well, we all know Dragonborns are weak.
a Dragonborn bard.
Rude.
I didn't even know Dragonborns knew how to play instruments or music. Do y'all even have music in your culture?
Yes, we have music. There's music everywhere.
Dragonborn bard it doesn't hit the ear right.
Does anybody else find the irony in the fact that our bard has a dragon tooth lute?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't. I have.
I mean, should we have a look around the room before we go disturbing grave sites?
Personally, the more I think about it, it might be in our best interest to walk away from this one. I mean, we've gotten a fair amount of loot, and we've managed to not die in here. That it'd be a shame for one of us to go out on the last room. I mean, we've officially mapped the entire temple, which means we can go get that fancy gun, check out the tinkerer shops that are supposed to be open to us for doing them this kindness, and well, quite frankly, the allcaster. The more we carry it, the more we would risk fucking it up. So the quicker we get it to Tilinara and Bo, I think that's probably in our best interest.
Don't you think there's something more to this room that we're missing?
I mean,
Bunch
of course, there's shit in the boxes. It's fucking obvious. It's a burial chamber for what seem to be the nobles or something. So there's a shitload of loot in there. That's not the question. The question is it really worth it this late in the temple?
I mean, there's also that hall with the skull with all the coins just scattered across the ground that we ignored. I mean, if we're going to start digging into everything,
And we bypassed that one because it didn't seem like a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and vote we go back. I'm going to vote that we go back to the beginning of the temple and we get ready to get the fuck out of here.
But maybe that Dragonborn has a really nice concertina or something nice.
You already have a nice concertina.
Or castanets.
You have castanets.
Or
you
a
have
really
everything
nice
you
lute.
want. You're a one-man band.
I mean, I'm not exactly too excited to, rob graves and all that, but I am curious. So, I mean, I'll just kind of go either way. Go with majority rule here, but
Well, Lady, it seems like we got 2 for, 2 against. So,
well, shit. I mean,
I mean, you must be interested in that dragonborn bard on there. I mean, you don't see those very often.
Well, maybe not the bard, but I am curious in picking out this paladin and the cleric a little more closely, possibly.
Can
Can
I
I
walk? I'm gonna
investigate
walk.
the?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, can I investigate the paladin statue to see if I could determine perhaps what god it was towards?
Yeah, give me an investigation or a religion check.
That will be a dirty 20.
Looks to have a holy symbol of this crescent moon, which you would know to be the elvish god of Corellian Larthian, or something along those lines. It is pretty much the main deity of where you're from. Actually, the elves in Brightwood mainly worship this deity. But yeah, Corellian Larthian or Lathrian or something like that.
Would I know whether this god is considered good, evil, or neutral?
It is definitely a good aligned god, and the patron god of elves.
All right, so it's a good. I mean, the elves served a good god, but the followers are assholes. So for all that, paladin's probably an asshole.
Well, they do have a very large gold statue and nice fancy sarcophagus, so I mean, they can't be all that bad, right? Um, can I check out the cleric?
Yeah, go ahead and give me either an investigation or a religion check.
It's a 13. Not great.
With a 13, the symbol looks familiar, but nothing's coming to mind. Like you've for sure seen it before, but it's difficult to recall exactly.
Gotcha. I mean, I guess it's up to the group. I mean, do we feel like potential rewards are worth the risk? Because I mean, if these are actually, can I look? Sorry, can I look again? And this time, instead of looking and trying to figure out what god it is, can I try and investigate to see if there's any uh, like nameplate or like any sort of description or of like who these people are or like who any one person is, or if it's just random, very nice sarcophagus and statue with no description.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Alrighty. Oh, that's better. That's a dirty 20.
You do find small inscriptions here or there that seem to bestow like a title of some kind on these people. It seems as if these are fallen heroes of the age. When you kind of put things together, like this temple seems to be dedicated to like the king or like hero, this like arachnid type individual. But the people entombed in and around him were like his servants and his family and things, and you get a sense that these may have been companions, maybe lieutenants or generals, maybe some nobility in his lands or something like these. For whatever reason, are high-ranked individuals that need not necessarily share the same tomb as him. For whatever reason, whether they're heroes or villains, you're unsure, but Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just kind of turn and relay that information. Like, yeah, these guys are, I think, are probably some sort of high-ranked individuals in his that Drider Champions Court. You know, champions or heroes or maybe other like generals or royalty, some sort that he was saw fit to give a proper and elaborate burial, in his tomb. So maybe I don't know. Maybe it's best not to test it. If there's generals and champions, he probably had high respect for him to give them this sort of burial. So might not exactly be easy trying to gather items from their tombs.
Well, the Drider came out. He was very nice and respectful. I'm sure if he kept these people in the steam company, maybe we could, I
He
don't
was
know,
also
put
nice and
offerings.
he was also nice and respectful because we were nice and respectful to his grave. Sure, if we
How much-
just tried
That's what-
breaking in.
How much
Well,
time
that's
has
what I'm
passed
saying.
since we've been chatting?
You're about 20 minutes into your 2 hours or so, so you still got an hour, a little more than an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes or so.
All right,
Sounds
for
gonna be
fuck's
like, yeah,
sake, if somebody doesn't do something right now, we're walking out. If you do something, I got your back, but either way, we're running out of time here.
Blade, it seems like it's up to us. Do you want me to shoot the arrow at the gem or not? If you want me to do it, I'll do it.
Oh, it does seem tempting.
Would you say the Elven? Was he a Elven fighter?
Yes, there is an elven warrior depicted in one of these golden gem encrusted statues.
And none of these people seem familiar to me, do they?
Not in particular, no. These are not people you've run across in your time.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna use Druidcraft to make flowers, and I'm gonna put them on all their graves, all the sarcophagus. Pay little respect, and then I'm sorry, Blade, but majority seems to think that it would be wrong to mess with them. And honestly, when you think about it, it is wrong. And then I'll pay my respects, put a little flower on each sarcophagus, and then head back to the party. Kind of hoping to see if something happens as well.
Yeah, Blade will kind of with that retract and dissipate his mage hand and respectfully kind of bow out and say, "You're right. These ones here are sacred, and it's best not to disturb them."
You know?
All right, so the party deciding not to attempt fate kind of finishes mapping out this temple dungeon situation and makes their way back to the entrance where, after a short time, this very large metallic like door slowly begins to rumble and rolls out of the side to reveal this cavern where it is well lit, and there are several eager wide-eyed gnomes anxiously awaiting your arrival. Mayor Alini is amongst them, and upon this door sliding out of the way, and your party standing there, kind of battered and beaten, but in otherwise good shape. after the last 24 hours or so, what begins as a slow clap becomes, an outright cheer as you guys kind of exit this temple and are just swarmed by not only these gnomes that seem to be like adoring fans, but also like these like archaeologists type of like science and scholarly folk that are just not only impressed with your return, but like immensely excited with what you have potentially brought back with you. And so, you guys are just mobbed by this crowd of gnomes upon exiting this temple.
Well, you know, Locust, he's definitely reveling in all the attention. Got
Glader's
his,
doing the exact opposite. Just like head
got
down.
his, Locust got his arms up and is kind of like cheering along, like, "Oh yeah, we did it! We're the fucking champions!" And just got his letting them swarm on him and just
Oh,
reveling in it.
Renwick's right there with you. I feel like he's got a flask in his left hand and the trident in his tentacle hand, and he's just got it above his head, taking like a swig out of his flask and just being like, "Ah!"
100% Blade's right there with him and be like, "Oh, could you believe it? Without my inspiration, I bet these fine folk wouldn't have made it."
I imagine Locust is getting ready to just smack any gnome that gets too close to him.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, Locust and Glader in the back just kind of just like not acknowledging this.
Blade's crowd surfing.
Yeah, so this, happy, joyful like crowd of gnomes, they all kind of, they basically herd the party out of these mines and into, the village and back to the mayor's, manor. And at this point, Mayor Alini kind of takes his place at his, official like desk in his little manor, where he does most of the mayoral business. And he's like beaming at this point. He's smiling ear to ear, and he's made like an event out of this whole proper like ceremony where you come to collect on these contracts that you've signed with him. His entire manor is packed all around. Every seat in the house is taken. Some of these gnomes are still in like nightcaps and nightgowns, because it's midnight as as the when the door had opened. So you guys are packed in this house full of gnomes, and Mayor Alini definitely has a couple of other elected officials, as well as maybe like clerks and things handling all of the business officially, as he like lays out the contracts, and he's thoroughly getting at least a portion of the credit for hiring you guys. So that being said, you guys pretty much completed every contract out there. Do you have a pic of your map there, Gladier?
Oh, do I?
I'm curious as if to your map matches mine.
I sent a few earlier, but I'll just resend them. Or not earlier, but like 3 weeks ago.
All right.
But yeah, give me a second. I'll send them all.
All right. So Mayor Alini kind of holding up his part of the bonus here, or part of the contract. So part of the deal was that he was going to give you 100 gold pieces per item that you recovered, that you allowed his scholars to kind of catalog and things. So whether it was say the trident, or the cloak, I think you discovered a bracelet or some other treasured items, like any item you found that you are willing to let them catalog, they are willing to give you 100 gold pieces for. So collectively, as a party, how many items did you pull out of this dungeon?
And just to be sure, there's no fine print. Like, the items are still ours. They just want to catalog them and hand them back.
Correct.
Just making sure. In that case, I got the decanter of endless water and the trident.
I got the lantern of revealing, and I think that's it.
I have the chime of opening, the staff of the python, and poisonous mushrooms.
I don't know if I got anything, honestly. Did I get anything? Was the brooch of shielding? Did we get that in the temple?
And you guys should have recovered several treasure items that also kind of count on this list.
Oh, I mean, I think like
Oh, in
300
that case.
GP worth of gems.
Oh man. Let me.
The
That's a lot
cloak,
of.
Like
The,
I think there was like a
glass
crown or
chain.
something you guys had. That counts as an artifact that they would want to
Yeah.
catalog. I believe Locris at one point wrestled a bracelet off of a dead body or something. That counts as an item that they would like to catalog. So everything, not just your magical items, but also like whatever treasures and trinkets you pulled from this venture.
What about I have a greater beholder eye, 4 lesser beholder eyes, and 2 water skins of beholder blood.
So, Logus has an elven longbow plus a sentinel shield. Glader got the brooch of shielding. Blade got the cloak of protection +1.
And then we've got the jeweled crown, the golden music box with intricate carving, silk and velvet mantle engraved with moonstones.
Spell scroll of telepathy.
Yeah, the chime of opening, the decanter of endless water, the lantern of revealing, and scrolling.
I also got the
think that's
flask of.
Yeah, I think that was it.
I also got the flask of that old wine, if that counts, that we found in the mimic room.
Okay, so how many items in total? Because 100 gold per item if you're willing to let them catalog. And as you kind of pull these items out and show them, Mayor Alini has kind of made this like an official event, and several scholars. Anytime you pull out an item, a couple of scholars come by and not only inspect the item like vigorously, but one of them is very gifted. It appears to be like an artist, and like immediately scribbles like an identical sketch on some parchment, so they have like a visual aid, and as well as whatever properties or qualities they determine your trinkets and treasures and items to have before returning them to you. But
Does a mushroom and beholder body parts, do those count?
I will say yes on the mushroom, and not the individual beholder parts, but beholder parts as a whole, yes, also.
Then I count
All right.
18 individual pieces like that.
That sounds about right.
Say that again, Locris. What was that?
18.
18 total, yeah. So 1,800 gold pieces piled up as you guys realize that this manor and this entryway, this large kind of hall of the mayor's, is just kind of filled with scholars and different tools and things and gnomes in various degrees of interest about all this stuff you guys have recovered. Another one of these contracts stipulates that if you're wanting to get rid of or sell any of these treasure trinkets or magical items, that they will give you a fair price plus an additional 10%. So is there anything that you guys have recovered from this dungeon that you want to sell right here and now?
I do think there's probably a fair amount.
Well, the
See how
cloak
much
of
they'll give
sentient
us.
moving.
See how much they'll give us for the death cloak.
Glader
yeah.
would sell his 300 GP worth of gems that he gathered.
If you got 300, go ahead and take the 300 gold, but also count for 10%. So it would be 330 in that case.
Sweet.
And yeah, so usually when I give you guys a treasure item, I try to tell you like how much it was worth, and then so if you're wanting to offload some treasure items, count the worth, and then add 10%. Obviously, if you choose to sell it here at this point in time.
I would have probably sold that elven longbow. I already have a +1 longbow.
1,000 gold even, and they thank you for liberating a relic from this temple.
We'll sell the Cloak of Sentient Movement, and I'll just put that into the party's like total gold or whatever that we add up.
The Cloak of Sentient Movement is a powerful artifact and a well-known one in these parts, and that will fetch you 7,500 gold pieces.
Holy shit. All right. That's sick. What else do we have here to sell?
What about the ornate glass key?
Yeah, that should fetch a pretty penny.
It's ornate, and it's a relic of this temple. So it'll even though you guys kind of destroyed the lock, it'll still fetch probably about 500 gold pieces.
If I might be so
Locust.
bold, boys, I think this might actually make something nice for our trophy room. I think we should hang on to the key.
What room?
Hey, with all this gold, we're going to be able to buy ourselves a fucking fort.
Loker said, "Do you want to offload the beholder parts here, or are you going to try to hold on to those?"
I think I've got the beholder parts, but I was going to offload them. I was hoping to basically just part those out to like an alchemist or something and try to make some coin.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, the agreement stands. They will. The mayor Alini just happens to have made a big deal of this, and happens to have an alchemical apprentice on hand, who is willing to gauge the value of your beholder parts and pay you accordingly.
So I believe we got one greater eye, 4 smaller eyes, and 2 water skins of its blood.
Okay, for the greater eye, it'll be 400 gold pieces, and then 100 gold pieces for each of the smaller eyes. And he, in no shape or circumstance, wants to purchase the beholder blood, which is now coagulating and like rotting and stinking in your guys' like containers.
I'll just throw those in for free, and I'll tuck them in with the eyes on the table. I assume that we're setting everything on.
Right.
Gee, thanks. As he kind of concludes the transaction.
Let's
Did
see, what
anybody
else?
want to keep the mantle, music box, or gold crown, or do we want to sell those for the 12,000 plus another 10%? Making it 13,200.
Were any of them magical, or were they just kind of like?
No, none
Yeah.
showed up magical. It's just silken velvet mantle engraved with moonstones, golden music box with intricate carving, and a jeweled gold crown. None seemed to do anything. It was just, royalty garb.
I mean, I'm fine with selling it. If everyone else is.
Yeah, that's fine by me. I don't think we have a use for them if they're non-magical. We're not needing to like necessarily win somebody over with a fancy music box or anything.
Sell it.
That's already
All right.
majority.
All right, so I'm about to start sending over the pics of the map. I'll kind of like explain as I go because they're a little further out, so you can zoom in more, and they look pretty clear on my phone. So if you zoom in, you can kind of see the smaller writing, but they are, um, zoomed out. So the first one, yeah, that's like right the entrance, the center left and right hallway. And then we went down the left hallway first. So you can kind of see where I went to the left there. Then I ran out of, and then we had the mimic room with the barrels and crates, crate and barrel. And then I ran out of room on that side. So door 3, door 1 and 3 of the left side of the hallway are on the right side of that page. And then next we went down the right side of the hallway, which is these pictures they're sending now. So the first picture is the entire right side of the hallway. All 3 doors that we went down. And then the second picture is like zoomed in of those other 2 rooms because there's kind of more notes in those and more detail. So I did a zoomed in picture of that. And then the center hallway are these 3 pictures here. So we got, oh wait, no. Shit. What did I just do?
What have you done?
Okay, no. There's one more picture of the right hallway, which is that first big one that I just sent. So that's the extended of the right hallway because that is where
The illusion at the end, correct? Yep, you got it.
yeah, the
You're on the
illusion
money
at the
there.
end, yeah, that's the right side of the hallway. With the treasure room and the beholder lair is in that one. And then the last 2 pictures is the center hallway where we got the alchemy lab and then the staircase. Well, first was the pool of acid. And then it's the alchemy lab, the staircase, and then the staircase continues down on the far left side of the page with the sand pit and the benches, leave the ghosts alone. And then that last picture is the very last room we just left with the heavy fog trap and the tombstone insignia and all the sarcophagi.
And as Gladier kind of explains all this maps that he busts out that he's been making over the last day or so, the Mayor Alini kind of signs a writ and makes a couple other individuals in the crowd that are kind of dressed bougily come forward and either get like a signature or stamp a stamp or a wax seal on it. And each of you guys are kind of given a writ which permits you to purchase some of the technology that can only be found here in Tinkerer's Cove. Aside from that, the Mayor Alini walks over to where he has this beautiful golden musket rifle kind of mounted on the wall, and he takes it down and looks at it and looks down the sights for what is potentially the last time and walks it over to you and presents it to you, Gladier.
He looks a little shocked. Wasn't expecting to get handed the gun, but he kind of, weighs it in his hands. Well, it's nice doing business with you. Glad we could help. Wow, this is an impressive This is an impressive weapon you got here. I don't even know how we. Yeah, I don't think I'm the person to fire this. I mean, I would be very tempted to test fire it, uh, but I think there's other people in our fine group here that can utilize this a little better.
Mayor Alini nods, and he kind of takes his position behind his desk once again, and he says, "Well, as you can see, it was definitely a success. I'm glad I hired these adventurers. You can count on me to look out for what's best for Tinkerer's Cove. Cheers on me." And his automaton, as well as a servant or two, come out and begin serving a plethora of different alcohols, wines, champagnes, ales. They come out with small charcuterie plates, and a party cracks off. Somewhere in the house you hear the rhythmic tones of a piano just kind of start playing a jovial tune. Everyone hurrahs and cheers, and celebrations begin to take place.
Yeah, I think Glader just grabs the first like waiter boy or person by the arm and just says, "Just bring me ale and don't stop." And he just starts. He finds a nice comfy couch and grabs a whole charcuterie board for himself and sits down with an ale and an entire charcuterie board.
Yeah, they're all too happy to feed the rather large dragon creature in full plate armor. They bring the ales and foods quickly, and they don't stick around.
Can Renwick roll a perception check to see if there's a tiki bar?
Go ahead and give me a perception check for Tiki.
It's a 21.
I mean, there may or may not be a few plastic palm trees set on the mayor's bar for some reason.
I mean, if we're celebrating.
Yeah, crystal decanters come out. The mayor is constantly being congratulated on what a good job he has done. Like, almost like he orchestrated it, and he was like the talent scout that, went above and beyond to find these adventurers, and you guys are getting some of the fame and glory too. Definitely lots of handshakes and people giving you thank yous, and impressive gawking kind of people whispering behind your back. Kind of admiration in all directions, it seems. And as you guys kind of this party starts cracking off, a couple of these gnomes do approach you and identify themselves as merchants, and they offer you their wares. They kind of approach and say, didn't want you to have to wait till morn proper. The mayor told us about the agreement, so we've brought some of our best on down here right now. Is there anything in particular you're interested in?" One of the gnomes wheels a trunk over and kicks it open, and in this trunk is a plethora of weapons. They all seem to be firearms of various sorts. The other gnome, who is eager to not be outdone, says, "Yeah, or maybe you need something more intellectual or technical." And he pulls a trunk out as well and kicks it open. And you see inside this trunk, a few mechanical, like small animals. There's a dog, a house cat, a crow, and they all kind of squawk and are moving about in this trunk as they kind of turn to the party.
Logus would get excited at the prospect of an automaton crow, and he would try to pick it up, and he'd want to see how it act compared to a real bird.
Give me a nature check. As you go to pick it up, the gnome's eyes widen, and he encourages you to do so. He says, "Oh yeah, just like a real crow. Promise. Check it out."
For a ranger druid, my nature is fit, so I rolled an 11 total.
It looks and responds and moves very fluidly, similar to a crow. But as far as you can tell, it's just a mechanical crow. And the gnome kind of pipes up and says, "Yeah, just like a regular crow, only because it's an automaton, it doesn't need to eat or drink or sleep. So it's even a better pet because you can't forget to feed it. It's just there."
Logus is gonna look at it and maybe this isn't the best idea. I do have a bird already, but I do not have a dog. And he'll look at the dog and try to haul it over, and the same thing. And how much for the dog, friend?
Ooh, for you, 500.
Oh, easy. I won't even try to haggle with you. And
As you buy
Logus would also want to.
As you
No, go
mention
ahead.
that you want the dog, he also pipes up, "I also have a donkey, a horse, and an oxen."
That's a
Donkey, you say?
quite.
And we'll chime in.
This is quite large for me. Blade, perhaps this is your forte.
I mean, Gibraltar could use a donkey friend, I'm sure. But please finish your transaction. I didn't mean to intrude. I just got excited.
Yeah, he's happy to sell you the mechanical crow Logos for 500 gold pieces.
I
Do
think
you
I
happen to
wanted to
have
take
a
in the dog.
raven?
Oh, the dog. Same price, 500 gold pieces. And the dog is a Labrador.
Do you happen to have a raven in there?
He says, "I got a crow, but I mean, I've also got some other. I've got drones. We could other clockwork beasties." And he, from what appears to be a bag of holding, withdraws a large trunk and sets it on the ground. And then he opens it, and a small clockwork, weird kind of creation, steampunky creature kind of crawls out of it. And, then another. And, as followed by the first two, yet a third. And as these creatures climb out and stand on display, as if in modeling for some suitors, these gnomes that have brought you this plethora of weapons and mechanical creatures kind of have a devilish smile on their face as they look towards each other and then back to these wealthy customers with very deep pockets.
What do these little creatures do? Are they just for looks?
They're they're little. Well, the little one is a monodrone. The other one is a duodrone, and the third is a tridrone. And they just do whatever you need them to do. They're tiny little drones. They're just small mechanical companions that you teach things and can do things for you, and they're just great little helpers, man. They're pretty awesome little dudes. Check them out. They all
Can they
flex
talk?
and bounce around and things. Not really. I mean, yes and no. They could talk if you cared to teach them a language, but you would have to attune to one of these drones' controller essentially to communicate with it. But you will be able to give it commands telepathically. But you could potentially teach it to talk if you took the time, I suppose.
Allow me to think on it.
These weird little monstrosities start running around. The gnome that presented the weapons, as you guys are kind of looking at the other gnomes, automatons, he actually goes outside and walks in the donkey, horse, and oxen mechanical automatons. He brings them in for your viewing. These two gnomes seem to be doing just about anything they can to liberate you of some of your freshly earned cash. So, you have these, what are called, let me double check here, these mono drones, or I guess a duo drone, or whatever kind of drone it is. Da-da-da. Yeah. Mod drones, or whatever. So, there are those. There are the mechanical pets. There's the cat, the crow, the donkey, the horse, and the oxen. And aside from that, there, as far as weapons wise, there is currently available what appears to be a fine array of palm pistols, the various metals and woodworking, different colors and shapes and sizes to choose from. There are also several muskets, different woods and metals, different engravings and polishings and things to kind of make them stand out. They're all a bit different. And also several different colors and shapes of this, what is known as a blunderbuss, also available.
Glader probably walks over and starts eyeing the blunderbuss. Just so, how do never heard of guns before and firearms of these like, but I've never quite seen one in person. How do they work? Are they easy to learn, easy to use?
The gnome in question says, he pulls one of the pistols off the rack and shows it to you upright. Controlled explosion shoots this big like metal rod really fast out the end of this. It's pretty much the same concept on frickin' everything. But hey, look at this here. And he walks over to the nearest window, tosses it open, and fires around a loud shot out of it, and it shatters something outside, and you hear somebody scream, "Oh!" And the whole party kind of goes silent for a moment and turns, and Mayor Alini has a very large scowl on his face as this gnome comes back to you with this smoking pistol, places it back on the shelf. Sorry, guys. Sorry. The music picks up and the conversation as well once again.
Yeah, I think Glader will pick up the blunderbuss, seeing it's probably the largest, most imposing between that and a musket and a little hand pistol. How much for this guy right here? This looks like he could do some damage.
The weapon and 20 rounds, 500 gold pieces.
All right. And could you give me maybe not right now, considering the party, but at some point before we leave today, could you give me a quick little instruction on how to fire and care for the weapon?
Deal. But you gotta buy now.
That no problem. He's gonna take out and hands him 500 gold. Also, does not care about haggling right now.
Okay, yeah, he is all too happy to take your gold and give you a blunderbuss, as well as a quick rundown on how to use it and maintain it. He even throws in like we'll call it an ounce of gun oil to kind of help maintain your weapon here. Along with your 20 shots, it's a standard blunderbuss. I think it's on D&D Beyond. It's like 2d8 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So
When there's a moment, Logus will take his automaton dog and go up to Gladier. Gladier, could I actually take a look at the mayor's gun and see if there's maybe I can get a hand on it or something?
Oh yeah, of course. No problem at all. I mean, I figured one of you, you know, distance fighters would get this really nice weapon. And I just purchased this one, just as a backup, just in case. But yeah, no, you can have this. This one's much nicer. One of you guys should have this. And yeah, he'll hand over the very nice gun we got as a reward.
Yeah, thanks, man. I didn't really want the dog. I just bought it. I'm gonna have to take care of it out back. I appreciate it though.
Excuse me, what?
Nothing, Gladier. Good. Thank you for the gun. You have fun with yours. And you just gotta Luggage will want to kind of just spend some time with the gun, maybe find a safe, like a corner, quiet corner, and see if you can figure out what the heck this thing is.
Okay, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Investigation's only a 9.
With a 9, this appears to be similar to some of the weapons that these gnomes are trying to sell. Some, kind of like the blunderbuss, but this appears to be similar to what the gnomes are selling, what is known as like a musket or like a rifle of some kind. So it is kind of like a musket rifle, but it is not wood and iron. It is made of gold and has like some gnomish engravings on the side. You're not quite sure because you don't read gnomish, but it feels kind of light in your hand, and from what you have seen from the loud bang, this is some sort of distance weapon. Utilizes an explosion and propels a spike or a metal ball at high speed in whatever direction.
Um, at some point, he would try to get Renwick's attention and hey, Captain, did you want to try to take a look at this gun? I mean, I don't know much about gnomes or anything. I can't figure out what it does other than it's a musket.
Yeah, I can certainly take a look at it. I mean, I'm a bit more attuned to kind of weapons with a bit more finesse to them, but I'll take a look once we're done with the shopping here. And he'll turn back to the guy with the weapons and just be like, I know you got to bring your heavy hitters out to impress us, but what if you had somebody that preferred a bit more of a subtle approach? And then he'll pull out his crossbow of Yandala and just be like, do you have anything I could attach, or maybe some fancy ammunition that you might have cooked up? You see, I've heard tales of a vigilante named Hawkeye. Had a quiver, bunch of different arrows, did different things. You got anything like that?
There once again a little gleam kind of sparkles in one of their eyes. They dig around in this trunk and pull out what appears to be a several sets of quivers and bolt casings. And there is a variety of different ammunitions. Basically, they have a version of a bolt that can do any kind of damage you would like it to become. So, if you want it to be a fire bolt, you can load this seemingly solid bolt, and mid-air it bursts into flame before hitting your enemies. Similar with something to do with cold damage. Similar with electric damage, radiant damage, necrotic damage. They are able to infuse the piercing damage of a bolt to become anything, basically any other type of damage you'd like. 10 shots for 150 gold pieces is the going rate.
Well, I'll certainly take those.
So would you
So you
prefer
said
10 fire bolts, 10 bolts of cold, 10 bolts of lightning, 10 bolts of radiant?
oh, I choose them now.
Correct.
Gotcha. I already have radiant. Let me. Oh, it's tricky. Let me get 10 lightning bolts.
And once again, it doesn't add any increased to hit or damage to the attack. It just transfers it from piercing to lightning damage.
Heard.
Logos, was there arrows too, or just bolts?
Oh, absolutely. Arrows as well. If you were interested in some of these varying damaging arrows, you can make the same deal. 10 arrows
Logos,
for 150 gold.
Logos would have took 10 cold arrows.
Is he? So I mean, if is he offering all of them up? Did I might have just misheard
You
that? Because
can
if so, like
buy.
I would just buy the lot.
He has a at least one of each kind of damage. So if you want to spend another 150 on fire, another 150 on necrotic, another 150 on cold, or what you already got lightning. So yeah, I mean basically as far as elemental damage, he's got a little bit of each to go around.
Oh, I totally will then. I will look up the types of damage and I'll do the math and drop it in chat later. But I will take 10 of each type of damage bolt.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean
Logos will do
that's
the
also
same
gonna
thing.
be radiance. That's gonna be necrotic. That's gonna be force damage. So make sure to look it up and let me know how much you guys picked up.
Yeah, we'll do.
How much for the trite drone?
Quite the unique individual here. Quite capable too. Good companion. Good traveling companion. But it's a pricey one. That's the best one we got, and it's got to come at a price tag of 15,000. $10 for the duo drone, and an even $5 for the mono drone.
Yeah, I gotta say, your wares kind of suck.
He kind of turns to the drones. Hey, show the man! And they all like one of them starts juggling, the other one starts doing paperwork while pacing, and the third one is like it looks like to be doing a combination of juggling, walking in circles, and writing something on a piece of paper. Like they all begin like acting and moving about immediately.
Oh,
You just
so
got to know
they're
how to use
kids'
them.
toys.
I mean, sort of. Sometimes, I guess.
And I'm too cheap for that.
Are you sure? I mean, you could teach it to fly, you could teach it to speak languages, you could teach it to write poetry. I heard there's a guy somewhere in Hordenshire that taught one of these guys how to use magic once. It's crazy.
Yeah, but we get into a lot of dangerous situations, and if I paid 15,000 and lost it, I'd be pretty pissed.
Well, don't lose it. I mean,
Well, I'm sure if I lived your life of laziness, yeah, I'd be fine. But somebody has to go through these temples and do what you can't.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Do you have any melee weapons?
Most of our tech is kind of geared to our people, and we're not exactly melee types as he kind of, he has to look up to you.
Yeah. I'm going to go get a drink.
And yeah, the servants are all too happy to bring out some ale or wine or whiskey, whatever you prefer. So, as this kind of celebration continues on, and the mayor is just gloating about how he's the smartest gnome on the island, and people are just eating it up, and more charcuterie, more wine, more ale. It's just kind of an ongoing thing. The crowd does kind of start to fizzle out after a couple of hours, but there's still a few groups of stragglers hanging around, enjoying the celebration.
So
Go ahead, Blake.
so Blade's just kind of been hanging out and kind of eyeing the vendors, and um, he's really got his eye on this donkey. Blade's kind of inquiring a little bit, like, what is what is this? Like, he's kind of like cannot fathom that there's this donkey in front of him that's uh, some sort of automaton.
As you kind of look at this donkey, it's just a series of cogs and whirling gears, and some sort of unseen energy or battery source of some kind. But it each individual cog and placed gear are it moves like a donkey would. It even sounds and has other remarkable kind of features similar to a donkey. And the gnome kind of catches you looking and says, "Oh, you're interested, huh? It'll be the best pack mule you ever have. You never have to feed it or water it again. And it being an automaton, it doesn't actually need sleep either. So, I mean, it can do all of those things, but it doesn't have to. I think it's like, I don't know, old memories die hard or something. Maybe it thinks it is a real donkey, so it does eat and sleep, but it doesn't actually have to. So kind of weird, but yeah, last donkey you'll ever need, man. This thing will last as long as you care for it. You won't age or anything. No old mare syndrome. What do you say?
Oh, it's quite tempting. I mean, I've already got a pretty damn good donkey already. Can you tell me, would this? I mean, it looks like a donkey. It smells like a donkey, to be quite frank, and that's just props to you. But it's does it get along with other donkeys? Do you know?
As far as I know, it's a real donkey. It's just made of whirling cogs. It does all the donkey stuff. Shit, it'll even go eat grass and be stubborn. It's just kind of how it is.
So, if one was to think about buying one of these, what am I running here?
Ooh, for one of these fine bovine creatures, equine creatures, something. I don't know. 1,000 gold. It's yours.
And Blade will kind of turn his head down and look at the ground and kind of maybe kick his, boot in the sand a little bit and just be like, even for one that just traversed a temple, you sure you couldn't give any sort of discount?
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
$27?
Oh, damn. Yeah, with the 27, he's like, man, I mean, all right, I'll give it to you at the friends and family price, 700, but I'm basically breaking even here. Yeah.
No, like looking at the this beautiful beast. It's obvious that a lot of work has gone into it, and that I think that's a more than fair price. And he'll hand over the coin.
Excellent. He's happy to take your money, and now you are the proud new owner of a donkey, an autonomous donkey.
I shall call you Gigabraltar.
So, as the party kind of continues on, is there anything else you guys need to purchase or would like to do at this moment?
I think we should find some beds and find a way to get back to Bo and all that so we can get that stone dropped off.
Before we go to bed, Renwick, you want to take a look at that gun now?
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look. I assume. Actually, what would you want for that? Because it's
You can give me an investigation check for it.
16.
Just enough. After maybe asking around, there is some gnomish words carved on the side of this golden musket, and the words read "vengeance." And for the most part, this golden musket is similar in make and model to the muskets that these gnomes were trying to sell you guys. With the exception, it is not actually like enchanted or magical or anything. However, it is of quite fine make, and essentially this musket, known as Vengeance. Anytime you score a critical hit with this weapon, it automatically deals maximum damage.
Damn. So with a musket, that's I think a D10. So it's auto 20 damage.
It's a D12, so auto 24 damage.
D12. 24. Dang.
God damn. All right, vengeance. Yeah, I think. I mean, after that, I think after the festivities and everything, Renwick would be on Locris' side. It's like, I think we're definitely gonna feel better in the morning, there, boys.
Could Glader have bought an additional 20 rounds on top of the 20 that came with the gun?
At a 5 gold piece per round, you absolutely can. So it'll cost you another 100 gold to get 20 rounds.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, he'd do that for sure.
All right, as you guys kind of the festivities kind of begin to wind down, and the mayor thanks you guys profusely before very sloppily, kind of drunkenly making his way up the stairs to his personal quarters. You guys are kind of escorted out with the remainder of the crowd and head towards the center of this village, Tinkerer's Cove. Coming back again to the Grandfather Clock Inn, where I believe Logos had purchased a few nights for you guys. So you guys actually all have beds and things, and the after party doesn't seem to be much, but 3 or 4 patrons from the mayor's manor do kind of saunter kind of sloppily over to the bar and begin drinking and talking loudly. But you guys return to the Grandfather Clock Inn, and you guys have kind of run of the place and several rooms available. So, what do you guys do from here?
Locris is going to go to his room, start getting ready for bed, but he's going to be practicing reading his book on giants and practicing how to speak and write in giant. But it's going to be like very crappy. So it basically, if it was like Spanish, it'd be going tortilla, quesadilla.
Oh, for sure. As you're kind of settling down, familiarizing yourself with giant runes and pronunciations.
I think Renwick would have gone back to his room, like had the bar fill up his flask, and then gone up to his room. And if you guys have ever seen Lightsaber Kid, that early YouTube video, I think he's just in his room playing with his new trident, like testing it out and getting like a feel for the balance, and just like taking a swig of his flask every few minutes. So he's just getting hammered and playing with his trident.
Yeah, for sure. It's like 3 in the morning, and you're like jumping off the bed and swooshing and swiping and things.
I think Glader's going to spend 2 hours doing some work before he goes to bed. About an hour reading through his celestial, deity healing magic. Excuse me, like healing magic kind of book that he's already read through and like investigated once, but just kind of going more in depth with that. And then the second hour, he's gonna just familiarize himself with his new blunderbuss, kind of taking the oil to it and just inspecting all the gears and where to put, like how to reminding himself how the guy showed him to like load it and put in the gunpowder and all that stuff, just familiarizing himself.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
I think Blade would have tied up the donkey, maybe outside the inn, and make his way up to bed, pretty tired, and maybe before bedtime, maybe set a ritual and resummon Archie, owl form.
Archie shows up in owl form, a little bit flustered, kind of annoyed at dying several times in the last 24 hours, but happy to see you nonetheless.
I'm sorry about that, my friend. Really didn't mean for you to go like that those 3 times. You should be in less danger now. Yeah, and Blade will probably just nod off.
Logos, anything in particular you'd like to do before bed?
Yeah, he would have wanted to talk to Renwick before they split. So Renwick, would you like to hold on to this musket, or should I?
Oh, buddy, I got myself a shiny new toy. I think you should keep that. After all, you typically take shots from a bit further back. Even when I fight ranged, it's still fairly close.
In that case, he would have gone up to his room and done the same thing. Uh, try to like, he'd probably spend like an hour or so, like trying to teach the dog to like fetch, do basic commands, fetch, sit, roll over, paw.
Go ahead and give me an intelligence check, just a raw intelligence check to see how well you teach your dog.
You sure you don't want animal handling?
Yeah, animal handling will work.
That's not bad. I rolled intelligence. It's a 16. I already rolled that, so I'll stick with that.
Yeah, you successfully, even after only a few hours with this automaton, managed to teach it several tricks. It is exceptionally smart for a dog.
And this weapon, would it be under like a standard musket, or is it something that I have to attune to?
It is not a magical weapon. It doesn't do magical damage or anything. It's just a standard weapon.
And did the mayor give us any rounds with it, or
The musket comes with 5 rounds.
okay? I probably would have done the same thing like Gladier, just like hold the gun in my hands, aim down the sights, practice, like trying to get a feel because being from the woods, he would have never seen a gun and he's like fascinated by it. So he would have, and also I want to go to the window and try to whistle for Tony because I told them to take her back to town.
You whistle for Tony, and I do believe Tony was Tony left in town. I think you're right. Yeah, Tony definitely shows up to your window, eager for some scratches and some meat treats.
Then Logus would have called for like one of the servants to bring up one of those charcuterie boards and make sure it comes with like whatever the fantasy equivalent is, like the pepperoni and stuff, meat for Tony. And then he would have just spent some time with his bird and the dog and the gun, and then eventually fallen asleep.
Okay, yeah, you guys kind of all eventually succumb to yet another long rest. Go figure, 2 in a row, same episode. That's been a while, and so yeah, you guys have a long rest. The sun creeps up the next morning, and the hustle and bustle of the village kind of cracks off, and is kind of what awakens you guys at this point. How does the party proceed?
I think the question is, after this long rest, would we officially have leveled up since we have successfully beaten the temple?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't think it's going to affect the rest of the outcome. You guys are definitely officially level 9 at this point.
Sick. But yeah, I think bright and early, grab a big breakfast and maybe a breakfast beer or two, and then probably gather up and off to the temple. That sounds good.
Okay, yeah, for sure. You guys kind of, I guess Renwick runs downstairs and starts, getting in on some breakfast and a breakfast beer. Does anybody need to do anything in particular before moving on?
I would just need to reunite with Gibraltar because I believe he was taken back to the stall when we were about to go in.
Oh yes, you can for sure fetch your real and automaton donkey in tow. So the lot of you guys kind of do your morning rituals, grab some breakfast beers, maybe a little breakfast, and then you head out to what is known as the Temple of Garl Glitterhold. It is like the chosen deity of the gnomes here in Tinkerer's Cove. And as you guys kind of enter the gnome, familiar gnome, bald, completely covered in like gold face paint with golden colored robes and golden painted hands. Speaking in only gnomish, which for most of you guys don't understand, but he seems to greet you warmly, nonetheless. And as you guys kind of enter, you do see him putting the finishing preparations, the final touches on a teleportation spell that you assume is going to take you back to Hero's Perch in the Garl Glitterhold branch.
Well, I think it's safe to assume if you lot are ready, we're going through that portal. We got to deliver a package.
Yeah, we got a couple of gray people to make not so gray.
Eloquent as always.
A couple of gnomish scholars kind of appear from behind one of these pews, behind one of these benches, and they look to you and they say, well, Oh, we're ready if you are. Let's get this show on the road. I'm eager to catalog the Allcaster. He's kind of like a mouth breather. He kind of looks overly excited as he pushes his bifocals back up on his nose.
Well, let's get our transport on.
As you guys kind of step into this prepared circle, and in a flash of blinding light, find your eyes adjusting to another room entirely. You transported through time and space over the waters to Hero's Perch once again, where you find yourself now in the halls of Garl Glitterhold with several confused gnomes looking in kind of like stunned silence at the visitors that just magically appeared in the center of their chapel.
Take us to your leader.
One of the gnomes clears his throat. Yes, I am the head priest here. What can I do for you?
Returned with the item that God damn it, always forget her name.
Tilinara.
Yeah.
Eleonora asked for.
Oh, you want this is the third floor. You want Bo Brightglow, 7th floor. Go. He gives you directions to how to get around the temple.
That's not very courteous. Why don't you direct us and take us there instead of just giving orders?
Yeah, he lets go a deep sigh. Follow me. He just kind of walks up, through the Great Hall and up to the 7th floor, and down to the Hall of Pelor, where Bo Brightglow is waiting with Tilinara and what looks to be several dozen members of the Grey, people suffering from the graying.
Behold, we have returned victorious.
Oh, good. It's about time. I was wondering if you guys were going to come back or not. And Tilinara smiles and sits up and goes around and kind of is helping the priests of Pelor sit these people suffering from the graying. It's kind of like getting a bunch of children to kind of remain seated, but they do fill all of the pews in the Church of Pelor with people of the graying, and for the moment have their attention. Tilinara holds her arm out to the party. Allcaster, please? She smiles.
Renwick, that's you.
Yep, that's me. Sorry, just a long time coming for this moment. And he'll fumble with it and then very carefully pass it over.
She takes it, and as Bo Brightglow removes this sheet that's kind of covering this cart is filled with large agates, roughly the size of bowling balls, and with the Allcaster held in the center of this Hall of Pelor, this little temple, this little church. It begins to glow, and as one hand holds up the Allcaster, the other reaches out towards these giant agates, and the agate just begins to dissolve into like a sand, and it jumps from this cart up into Tilinara's hand and kind of runs through her body, like through some sort of energy, and it comes out of the Allcaster. And it seems that everyone in the room, all of these grays, are just kind of perplexed by the flash of light and the colors in the orb. And slowly but surely, like tendrils from the orb spring out and reach out towards all the eyes that are gazing upon it. Hundreds of eyes, so hundreds of tendrils kind of reach out. And then just as quickly as it started, everything stops. And the gray, they blink, and slowly but surely the the pigment returns to their skin, their gray color now becoming the more earthen skin tones of the varied races of their land, and so their hair begins to grow, their eyes begin to sparkle. What are once bald, chubby, gray people are now, a room filled of the various D&D races. There's, elves, dwarves, dragonborn, and they're all gasping for air, and they kind of look at each other as if, confused, as if they had just met, but for the first time, clarity, and they're confused, but the priests kind of tend to them and start directing them immediately. And the whole process looks to have thoroughly exhausted Tilinara. She is once again, down on one knee, gasping for air as she's like covered in sweat. But she did seem to have cured a couple hundred people of the graying all at once.
Blade will rush over to kind of help her up.
I think Gladiator is gonna rush over to Renwick and like pick him up underneath his arms and just like hold him over the crowd and like kind of tilt him downward and just kind of move in a slow circle to see if he can help him find his dad.
Well, what are you doing, you great lizard? We already found my dad. He was the first one we changed back. Don't you remember? It was very heartwarming. He's the one that sent us off.
Shit. I forgot about that. I'm sorry.
Do you think all halflings look the same, for fuck's sake?
He's got that lizard
Well,
brain. I know.
You guys think all Dragonborn?
This is not a good look for you. Not a good look. Now
Him.
put me down.
Just drop him from 6 feet up.
I rolled a 2.
Yeah.
But I have a plus 11 acrobatics. So.
A middle-aged halfling woman catches you, and she's confused as to who you are.
Thanks, Dolph. And he kisses her on the cheek.
If a golden scaled dragonborn could blush, he would be, and he kind of sheepishly back up. She's like, "I'm sorry, I forgot." It's been a lot going on the past few days.
That was amazing.
I really enjoyed that visual. Oh God. Tilinara, I assume that you and Bo are going to be able to coordinate, essentially attempting to reverse the graying since it's spread across the land. I'm not exactly sure how you're going to do that on a mass scale, but that's something that you can accomplish, hopefully.
Once we spread the word that we have the cure, they will come to us. There are already a few thousand, and it will take us a few days to cure it. But Renwick, we've found something interesting. Might I have a word in private? And he kind of gestures over to behind the altar. There is what looks to be like a personal chambers.
Do you mean just myself, or me and my friends here?
If you would share the information with them, that is your choice, but I must have a word.
Well, I've been through hell and back with this lot, so I'm not... one way or another, they're going to find out, so you boys better come with me. It'll save us time, me having to explain this later. Whatever this might be.
Everyone has the invite, but Bo, Brightglow, and Tilinara kind of leave the other clerics of Pelor to do the kind of tending to these freshly awakened people, and they step into the private quarters in the back of the temple.
All right, lead the way, Renwick.
Yeah, following right behind.
Okay, so as you guys kind of convene away from the crowds and things, Bo Brightglow has several parcels of paper that he kind of jostles out of this like nightstand, but it is Tilinara who kind of perks up. She says, "So, as the tales say, a once powerful, wealthy, and respected sea captain became so." Powerful and wealthy, so successful, he mysteriously decided to vanish one day to places, no doubt, of fine dining and luxury. Though, before officially retiring to places unknown, he gifted his entire crew an island. The crew parted ways after the captain's death, each returning to the island many years later to also retire. Each of them had become extremely successful in their ventures, as well as vastly wealthy. They each built manors near one another so they could enjoy their golden years amongst friends, and each manor came with an impressive estate. Many have miles of large, beautiful, well-groomed gardens and fountains laid out amongst statues in various places. That place is here, Hero's Perch. Currently, the small village has been erected in the center of a semicircle of large towering manors. The villagers all exclusively work among the various manors and estates as maids and cooks and tailors and groundskeepers, etc. And they have for generations. There's no actually businesses on the island except for the manors themselves. Some act as inns, but most are like by invite or request only. And I'm telling you all this because through our research in our attempt to kind of locate Amorphous, this vampire lord, it occurs to us that he may have been hiding under our noses. We assume Amorphous to be the sea captain that is allegedly the one who founded this island, the Hero's Perch, and the temple and whatnot. Well, not founded the temple, but founded the small settlement near the temple, I guess. But we have reason to believe that Amorphous Perch is in fact the guildmaster himself, and there just happens to be a mausoleum, a tomb of sorts, here on the grounds that are said, it was erected in honor of this captain, even though nobody knows where he made it off to. But it is here on Hero's Perch, this monument here in the cemetery surrounding it, and you're gonna want to check it out. I've already went down and seen a few things and handled a bit of business, but ultimately, I believe it would do you good, Renwick, to check out this tomb, this grave of this man. And she kind of, they give you directions and describe this mausoleum, this marble tomb, kind of, all around this cathedral on Hero's Perch. There is this beautiful grounds, almost like a cemetery, but marble headstones and mausoleums and statues and things. And you recall that it is in very good repair, very good maintenance, and very clean. The incense were burning, the torches and braziers were all lit, offerings were placed at every grave site or mausoleum or crypt, or rather. And so that's kind of the information they share with you, Renwick, that you may want to investigate this area.
I mean, yeah, on his recommendation, Renwick would definitely inspect around. And I think specifically, just like given the nature of the whole situation, like looking for any markings of like thieves' cant or any like runes, any strange writings, maybe take out the Wand of Secrets and burn a charge.
Okay, for sure. When you, they kind of just tell you where to go and how to get there. And then Tilinara and Bo themselves go back to kind of aiding those suffering from the graying, or those who have just been freshly awakened, and kind of leave you guys to your business. If you, as you kind of make your way out of the temple and down into the cemetery, it is very well maintained. Green grasses and white marble statues and headstones and crypts and things. And you do find your way to this particular, monument to this sea captain, unknown. It doesn't have any markings. It doesn't have any names specifically. And by setting off a charge from your wand, you do discover one of these walls to be a false wall. And as you push it open, stairs descend down into the darkness. As curiosity gets the best of you, and you and your party kind of travel down this long stairway into the darkness, you come across something familiar. After going down into the darks for some time, you come across what appears to be a small cove, and something very familiar. A bit of illusory magic seems to be hiding a small cove hidden in the rocky cliffs here. The last time you saw something similar to this was as you guys were escaping the Silver Queen's castle. It looks to be a magic of similar make. And in this cove, there is, a few various supplies on this kind of like hidden beachy cave. Looks like a few barrels of probably rum and water, a few crates of various boating supplies, a fire pit that is not but soot left in it, and a surprisingly sturdy looking cottage. As you guys kind of make your way around and peek in the what is clearly an abandoned cottage, looks to be filled with chains. Lots of chains and manacles hang from the ceiling and are mounted to the walls. And aside from that, as you guys are kind of looking around this little hidden cove, this little hidden beach, you do notice on the far wall here in this cove looks to be another staircase leading even farther down below into this, into the darkness. So at this point, what do you guys do from here?
Standard formation and walk down.
I think that's the move if we don't see anything else in this cove here.
And Glitter's gonna kind of grasp his amulet and just kind of like a wave of golden magic just kind of emanates from him. I'm gonna cast a divine sense. To drop the language in the chat, but essentially I can sense any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet if they're not behind total cover. It's kind of popping that off.
You get a strong sense of undead from farther down this stairwell, but nothing in your immediate vicinity. But it's not something that you would consider like a powerful source, but it's almost like a sixth sense, almost like something you can smell in the air, like evil beings probably layered in this area.
Like past tense, like they're not here now. It's just kind of like a remnants of them, or
you get strong undead vibes. Strong undead vibes.
Yeah, so he's gonna kind of just put his arms out and like stop everyone. Guys, I'm getting real good feeling there's a lot of undead down there. Something. This isn't a good place. So just everyone be on guard.
The best that we Renwick's gonna, I guess, tentacle hand presses against his chest, and it kind of glows like this strange, almost like purple glow, and absorbs into his chest. And he's going to cast protection from good and evil, or protection from evil and good, which he picked up with that level up.
Very nice. As you guys kind of assume the formation and head down farther, once again this staircase goes for quite some time. Renwick and Logos, you guys being at the front, Logos' passive perception is through the roof. So as you guys kind of get closer to the bottom of this stairwell where you can kind of see the bottom, Logos, you smell right away. You get an overwhelming smell of rotten flesh. It's almost sickening, but you for sure smell dead things up ahead.
Would I be able to tell how far ahead it is, or would I just know that it's in that direction?
You know that it is immediately ahead. The staircase kind of levels out into what appears to be a stone floor, and you smell it all around. Whatever on the other side of this doorway, it's pretty pungent.
Glady, I think whatever you were talking about, it's just ahead. It is almost unbearable, the smell of death down here.
You ever want to stay on your toes? We might be walking into something a little dangerous.
As you guys kind of press on into the room, this little stairwell kind of gives way, and as you guys look about, you're in this room. It's dank and dark and smells awful, and you notice many cages all around you. Some stacked on each other, some not, and the overwhelming stench of death. And as you kind of look about this room, you see that these cages are not empty. It looks to be some sort of dog, some sort of wolf, maybe like a hyena of some sort, but it's mutilated, like its flesh is burned and torn away, and it has a very large spear that looks wooden spear, looks to be pinning it to the ground, and the spear itself has several green vines and a small white flower upon it. And as you guys kind of look around this a little bit bigger room than what you guys saw before, all these cages seem to be full of these burned dog-like creatures with a large wooden spear protruding from them, and vines and flowers seem to be growing off of the spear. But there are a dozen cages with a dozen of these creatures that appear to be slain in them. Aside from that, on the opposite wall of the entrance that you guys came in, kind of in the northwest corner of this room, there is what appears to be a grand staircase, much bigger than the sneaky little like hallway that you guys have come down in the past two, and it descends down deeper into the darkness. So, how does the party proceed from here?
Can Glitter go kind of check out this room and see if there's like any sort of like notes or documents, or is this strictly just like a kennel of sorts where they just slayed all the dogs?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Ooh, that's not bad. 18.
Gladier, as you're kind of making your way around to each of these cages, it appears like these wooden spears are fresh. They like as if they were just made. Like they are in pretty good shape, pretty good quality. But as you're kind of like going around and inspecting these cages, a lot of them are still sealed shut, and inside the cages with these dogs, you're able to, with that kind of a roll, identify them as hellhounds. So identifying them as hellhounds in their cages, there looks to be a lot of debris, like shredded and torn leather and clothing, and several bones that are broken and gnawed on, clearly humanoid in nature. And it dawns on you that this is probably just like a massive kennel. And, this, from judging by the bones and the debris and kind of carnage that's left behind, it looks like this area has definitely seen some use. Like the bones are picked clean. There's no flesh on them, so it appears that many people look to have been fed to these hounds before they were slain.
Did we get the vibe from the room, the cove, and then this room that it was like abandoned quickly? Like they just kind of like rushed through, killed these dogs, and then kind of dipped out. Like, does it look, or was this like slow and calculated?
The slaying of the dogs is likely the work of a powerful druid. But you are unsure as to what the original occupants were doing.
Gotcha. Well, guys, these are definitely evil. This I'm not sure if there's more evil further down that I could have been sensing, but this is definitely not good here. I mean, these are hellhounds that were slain. So, if this is their kennel up here on this floor, I'm sure we're only going to find worse further down.
Well, I mean, we can stop standing around and pretending like we're not going to go down there further. Normal formation.
Oh, I'm ready.
And Renwick will draw his trident and his crossbow and load it with a radiant bolt.
Okay, yeah. And as you guys kind of make your way further down into this like crypt, you eventually come across a bend in this grand staircase, and you do eventually find the ground floor. And when you do, you're looking through this grand archway, and you come into this room that is dimly lit with torches on the wall. And on the far side of this room is a couple of statues, a trio of statues. One in the center is this. Well, the two on the outside, rather, so they're all three in a row. The two on the outside are clearly Baracus and Nayla. You recognize them without hesitation. The one in the middle, however, he is. You can assume that this is Lord Perch, and it is a very kind of elongated looking type of humanoid. He has long pointy ears, a long pointed nose, prominent fangs of a vampire, very vampire-esque looking. And he wears a garb that is kind of unfamiliar to you guys. It's almost like a sash kilt combo with like this large like feathery headdress. And these three statues kind of stand near each other. The Baracus and Nayla statue, obviously a bit smaller than the statue of what you can assume to be is amorphous Perch. And Lord Perch clearly being a vampire in this statue. It looks like there are several slabs in front of these, at the base of the front of these statues. Looks to be similar to that of like a morgue, somewhere where you may place a casket or a coffin of some kind. As you guys kind of look about this room, those statues being on the opposite side of the room, as you kind of peek in, there are a couple of doors to the immediate left and right as you enter this room. Doorways, rather, not actual doors themselves. And as you kind of make your way, slowly but surely towards these statues you see across the room, you kind of get a better view of these little side rooms as you walk by. One looks to be full of blood-stained cages and chains mounted on stone walls, floors, and there's just blood splatter everywhere. Right next to this little quarters looks to be like a bathing quarters. You see what appears to be a bath and several like silk robes and rugs thrown upon the ground. And on the other side of this small, kind of like hall, as you're kind of walking by, you notice what looks to be a decent-sized library littered with books, next to a bit of a lounge. Looks, you spot a decent-sized fireplace and a couple of plush-looking couches. So that being said, there's roughly 4 rooms in this main hall, and then the main room with these statues of these what you know to be vampires. How does the party proceed from here?
All right, so we got the bathhouse, bloody feeding room, a study slash library, and a very ostentatious statues
And a lounge.
and a lounge. Oh boy. Do we hear Glader return to Logus? Almost simultaneously ask him and then almost simultaneously cast Divine Sense again, but ask Logus if he hears any movements or sees anything of recent foot traffic as he's casting Divine Sense again to see if there's any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover.
With Logus's passive perception being so high, and this thing not necessarily trying to hide, and your divine sense being pretty close, you get a strong ping from over near the statues. And as you kind of approach, you notice a couple of things. One, that there is like a almost like a stone throne kind of etched into the larger statue of the amorphous perch or Lord Perch. It looks like maybe just a place of power or something, but there is centered kind of in between these statues. There is what appears to be a wooden crate. It looks to be freshly made, and upon this crate, there looks to be laid a silk garment of some kind, and atop that, a blade looks to be like a dagger made completely of bone has been plunged into this crate. Looks to be holding a piece of parchment to it.
Well,
Logus
that's it all.
would have pointed it out. I read my crate over here. Seems to be a note of some kind. As I walk towards it, do I notice anything else? Like, is the crate moving? Is there anybody around it, or is it just this?
You for sure notice the crate wobbling. The crate wiggles and rotates, and you hear a bit of scratching and something coming from the inside of the crate.
And that's where I got the thing of the undead.
Correct.
Okay.
Renwick's
Yeah.
gonna mage hand over and pull the dagger out, and then like pull the note back to him.
As you pull back this dagger, there, Renwick, it is quite a fancy bone dagger. It looks, quite ornate, possibly a ceremonial dagger of some kind. The letter, however, written in common, just reads simply as follows: "To the traitor," written in elegant, very flowing calligraphy like handwriting. "To the traitor, James Turner, his runt, and the so-called knights he associates with. You tamper with forces of which you do not know. What you did in Hordenshire was an annoying upset to a plan many years in the making. What you have done in the Alliance Islands has been very much became a thorn in my side, revealing not only my plans, but also my presence, no doubt, to forces that seek to oppose me at every turn. While I would love to crush the life from you, perhaps make you into my thralls, and I will, plans and needs have changed. I must venture on. However, to ensure you come to me, making the hunt much easier, I have left you a gift. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. Sands of Justice." Signed, Amorphous Perch, Guildmaster of the Shadow Specialists.
Are you going to open the crate?
I think he's a bit stunned because he's worried. What's in the box?
It's a head.
I think Glader would, seeing his stunned expression and probably worried expression, would take point, pull out his father's Kopesh, and slowly walk over to the crate and just kind of stick the point into the lid and just kind of slowly, slowly, actually not slowly, he's just gonna fling it open, just gonna wedge it in and then just crack the bitch open and then take a jump back and raise his shield and wait.
Logus would have readied an action to fire the musket at if anything aggressive, barring if Renwick stops him. He was gonna shoot whatever came out of there.
Okay, yeah. As you, Gladier, you throw open this crate, and Gladier, or Logos, you have ready to action. As the top of the crate comes off, one of the hounds you guys had previously seen slain, with this boiled skin and this otherworldly look to it, howls and leaps out of the crate and begins snarling at Gladier. And as he bites and chomps, he unleashes a bellow of flame and just bathes Gladier in flame. Gladier, you take 10 total fire damage. And I'll say this is such a weak creature. We could theater of mind this, and we don't really need initiative. If you had prepped an action or two, as soon as this creature comes and breathes this layer of flame on you, a loud crack of an explosion kind of happens in this, echoes throughout this little small cavern, this small room. And you see the smoking barrel of Logos's musket and the exploded head of this now dead hellhound.
So that's what it does. As he's like trying to like wiggle his ear because he can't hear shit. Maybe this isn't good for closed spaces.
Yeah, a loud ringing is now going through all of your ears.
Sorry, I didn't know it was going to be that loud. I've never used a firearm. As he puts it
What?
on his belt. I said I've never used a firearm. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I'll just you know what? Because he can't even hear shit either. He'll just like thumbs up and then put the gun on his back and kind of, mind that he's done with that and pull out his bow.
I think Glader would just kind of poke the hellhound with his sword to make sure it's really dead, and then walk back over to the group.
You poke the hellhound, and a bit of ooze and pus comes out of it, but its head remains exploded. It doesn't move.
Locris would like to investigate the library.
Okay, for sure. As you kind of roll on over to the library, go ahead and give me an investigation check. I'll give you the basics no matter what, but if you roll high, maybe a little extra.
While he's doing that, Logan sort of wanted to take a look at the crate.
Yeah,
to see
Renwick was
what
going to
else
check
is-
the inside of the crate too.
A dirty 20.
Ooh, a dirty 20. Okay, so, Chris, you kind of wander over into the library section, and you see a large table littered with books, surrounded by a few sitting stools. There's some very high walls in this room, and they're covered in bookshelves that are stuffed with old leather-bound books. Looks to be like a pretty standard library, even with some newer and modern works. You are just kind of poking around, and you notice that in places where dust has gathered, it is apparent that there are several missing things from this library. Several spots of the bookshelves look to be cleaned off. There doesn't appear to be anything in particular of value. This looks to be a very entertainment purposes library. Like there's a lot of poetry, very little in the way of research or magic. It's like a very kind of leisure oriented type of library. But as you kind of poke around, you do come across something different. It's a few maps of Daanal Wisech, and it looks to be several trade routes are going to and fro. And upon further inspection, you realize this to be the kind of secret trade routes that the shadow specialists have been using to kind of transport slaves. And you see where a few places you recognize, places you've been in the Alliance Islands and Hordenshire as well. But to your shock and dismay, it gets even more familiar. It looks like several of these routes go through not only Hordenshire and the Alliance Islands, but there are several apparent slaver routes through your home country of Brightwood as well. Renwick, Logos, as you guys kind of peek into this crate, go ahead and give me some investigation checks.
$17.
3, but 3 plus 17 is a dirty 20. So
Damn. Okay. So you guys kind of look in to this crate, and similar to the cages that you guys had kind of walked by in the kennel room area, it's just kind of full of debris. It looks like there are several gnawed-on bones and what appears to be like a broken skull, all picked clean of flesh. Some torn up fabrics and things that look to be shredded, and Logos, you pick up a piece of this fabric and take a look at it, and Renwick, you catch this as well. You pull up this bit of fabric and you look at it, and instinctively, to your dismay, you recognize it. This is a distinct embroidery on a distinct apron, and one you do know to be belonging to your mother, as it is a embroidery of the crooked cock in a tavern, an apron she used to wear when serving drinks and running the inn. and you have a good assumption that the remains in this box are, in fact, that of your mother.
You son of a bitch. Oh god. That actually hurts. That hurts so much. I think in this moment, Renwick would just like, I think it would be full blown rage at this point. Like, I think his eyes go dark and he just takes the trident and just starts wailing on the corpse of that hellhound in just a full blown blind rage. I think he just would fucking snap.
Renwick just fucking loses his shit and in a blind rage just begins pummeling this carcass of this bloodhound or hellhound into a paste, if you will.
I think Gladier's gonna slowly walk up, kind of knowing exactly what he's feeling, and just kind of like dodge, just move his head to the side, dodge out of the way of the trident, and just kind of grab his arm and try and like stop him, and put his other hand on his shoulder, and just kind of stand there, kind of holding him somewhat, just reassuring. I don't know. He's also feeling uh kind of a flashback of his own rage and hatred when he found out about his sister's fate in the potion that is still um in his pack that contains his sister's heart. Yeah, and just kind of stands there and kind of just, I guess, reassuring hand on his shoulder.
I think Logus would have stood back confused because he never saw Renwick's mother, and he would have just seen Renwick just start going into a rage and just stand back, not really knowing what's going on at the moment. And it seemed like Gladier console him, kind of putting two to two together and not really
I
knowing
think,
what to do in this moment.
and when Gladier consoles Renwick, he would, I think, at that point, just like drop the trident and drop to his knees and just fucking sob.
As the party kind of consoles Renwick, and he is having an emotional moment with his newly found mother, at least. What does the party seem to be doing at this moment? Locris is not even in the same room. Locris is like digging through the. You guys hear like a crash as Locris sets a stack of books aside as he's kind of investigating the library.
I think Gladier's. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Perhaps we should go tell Locris what happened and give these two a moment, and that way he's not caught off guard.
Yeah. You guys kind of make your way towards this like little library area, and Locris is looking over a particularly pretty good looking atlas, well made. But aside from that, kind of off in his own world for the time being.
Logus, he probably wouldn't know if it's his place to say. He kind of just felt uncomfortable in the whole situation, really not knowing what to say, and seeing them console each other over lost loved ones. Is he would have felt kind of out of place and uncomfortable in the situation. That's both Logus and Anthony would have felt uncomfortable in that situation.
I think Renwick would eventually just kind of accept that, like Ladier's trying to be there for him, and just like we couldn't. We've traveled continents, we've sailed ships, we've raided temples, we've cured a fucking plague, we've found one of the most powerful magical items, and it wasn't enough.
Because of come to find over the past few years, and even more so over the past few months, you can't save everyone. There's always, you can do your best, you can try your hardest, but there's always some sort of casualty. And I think as he's saying this, he just kind of pats Renwick on the shoulder, and then he kind of like very respectfully and gingerly reaches inside the box and starts attempting to separate, the corpse of the probably now very pummeled hellhound, or well, Nix that leaped out of the box. So he's like reaching in the crate and just kind of, like you said, respectfully pulling out the remains of his mother, what is left, and her tattered apron, and just begins to kind of wrap it up. And so I'm assuming if it was in the, I'm sorry if I missed some of the description, but I'm assuming if it was in the crate with the hellhound, it's kind of like how it was with the kennels, like the bones are picked clean.
Oh, for sure. The bones are picked clean. The remains that you do find is, you find most of a skull. It looks like to be cracked and missing some large portions of it. And aside from tattered bits of cloth, you are only finding bone fragments of various sizes. It looks like pretty much everything got chomped down to bits.
Yes, he's gonna just kind of gather what remains he can, and then pull out like the cleanest. I don't know, like I'm sure he has. I think I have like a spare cloak or some sort of.
Well,
cloth.
Gladia, actually, maybe I could help you with that. And after Logus would have gathered himself in the other room, he would have wanted to grab the pieces of his mother's apron and cast mending on it and try to mend the apron back to as full as he can for Renwick.
Oh, for sure.
And,
After some time, a little bit of effort, you manage to mend several pieces of fabric back together to be one full apron with the Crooked Cock Tavern logo emblazoned right on front.
And I'll hold it out for Gladier. I think it's only fitting that she be laid to rest in her own garments, if that makes sense. And I'll kind of hold it out to him so he can place what he picked up into the apron.
Yeah, I think Glader gives him a sad smile and a nod, and then goes back to what he's like, gingerly places the apron on the ground and just very slowly and respectfully places what remains of his remains of Renwick's mother into the apron, and just kind of like neatly folds it, and then just slowly just kind of like places it in Renwick's lap, and then just kind of puts his hand back on his shoulder. Like, so we can't save everyone, but that doesn't mean we quit. This is is the hardest part. Is dealing with the losses that we do come across, because there will be losses, and this isn't going to be the last one. But if you're in this for the greater good, this is the risk we take.
Didn't deserve this. She never did anything wrong. She was a good woman. She cared for us. She ran the best damn tavern. She shouldn't have been wrapped up in all this. I don't know what my dad did to bring that ire on our family, but they're gonna fucking pay for it. I think he folds the apron up and like tucks it into like under his armor by his heart, and then just picks up his trident and I guess just looks at the party and says, where do we even start?
So as all that's going on, I figure by now Locris would be done looking. He'd be walking out with the map in his hands. Just, still kind of studying it. Hey, I found a map with those slave routes. So if we could get it to the hands of somebody with the Navy, they might be able to put a stop to it. And kind of hearing quiet and looking up, seeing Renwick teary-eyed and the dog just absolutely smashed. And everybody just being quiet, it's kind of like, what, did you find out the dog humped your mom or something?
I think everyone would have been like,
Renwick would have straight up hurled the trident at you.
You see the rest of your party do a visible cringe as a trident soars through the air in your direction.
Shield up.
But that's only a 14 to hit, so
Bounces carelessly across, and you're a little watery eyed, a little too much to aim was true, but yeah, doesn't quite connect.
god damn, if that would have been a nat 20 though. It would have been a very interesting moment.
First time Glader uses Revivify is because
When I put a
Renwick
trident through his chest for making a fucked up joke.
party on party violence.
I think Renwick would just turn back to Gladiator and be like, I can't talk to him right now. I think you're gonna have to fill him in. And he just kind of walks off for a minute.
I think Glader just walks over and picks up the trident off the ground. Whispers to Locris. We found his mother's remains. She was left in the box with a hellhound. She's gone. So bad joke at the worst possible time.
Not the smartest guy.
I mean, literally any other time, that probably would have been funny. But you just don't have luck on your side, I guess.
No, I'd say I do have luck because I'm pretty sure he meant that to hit my heart.
Oh, he absolutely was trying to kill you. Yeah, that was full of anger. But he's not actually mad at you. He's really mad at the person who killed his mom. It's just, well, I mean, he might be a little mad at you, but yeah, it's fine.
I'm me. That happens. Well, I figured once we were done here, I was going to make my way to the Shadowfell realm. I was Didn't know if anybody wanted to tag along, but I'm pretty sure right about now he'd be happy to go there and hunt down that asshole. I'll give him a few minutes to calm down though before I bring it up.
Logus would have gone up to Renwick and Renwick, I know you could use some time alone right now, so if you'd like, I can put up the magic hole and leave you alone. Give you some alone time with your mother's remains if you'd like.
I think I'd like to gather the remains and lay her to rest on the cliffs near my home. So next time we're back in Tuscargo. But for now, I need to get my mind off this. I need to keep my hands busy.
But you must also remember that the quartermaster, whatever the fuck his name is, will get what's coming to him. But we can't be too brash right now. Going after vengeance will only play us right into his hands. You read the note. We go guns blazing for him, blinded by revenge. We'll play right into his hands. I know asking you to be patient is unfair, but I just don't want you to do anything stupid. You're my friend and I care about you.
Patience I can have if it means that I get to sever his fucking head from his body when the time comes. And you just see his fist and his, I guess, tentacles clench.
You might have to fight Gladia for that honor, but I don't think anybody would be opposed to it. So, everyone, what exactly is our move now? I know, Locris, you have business in Shadowfell. Well, what are we to do now? Locris is kind of like at a loss for words.
Yeah, I got a person waiting for me in Shadowfell that I don't want to keep waiting too long. I'm pretty sure these assholes went back home there. So if anybody wants to go hunting, I guess, you're more than welcome to join. I find your daddy there too, Logus.
I don't know if I want to find him at this point. We have 2 dead parents already. One dead family, 1 dead parent. No offense, Gladier. And Renwick.
I'm taking. I mean, he might take a little offense. It's a little fresh, but
I know. I'm just thinking out loud more than anything. You still have the trident, right? He doesn't have it?
yeah, I'm still holding it.
I think first things first, Renwick, I think we would like to accompany you to lay your mother to rest wherever you see fit.
Well, it's a bit of a journey to get back home. So it might take time for that one. But, I mean, as with Gladier, you guys have been with me through all of this, and it seems like we're finding out that we have a bit of a common enemy that's caused everything horrible that's happened to our families. So there's no sense in separating now. If you've got business in Shadowfell, then I've got your back.
Yeah, that fucker's dead.
I think we could talk to Bo. He might be able to get us back to the main island. In the where we are, does it look like there's a extra portal or anything that leads to the Shadowfell, or does it just like look closed off?
So you kind of went and checked out the library area and like the main hall where these guys have like their like statues, and it looks like they're almost kind of like how a morgue has that like sliding shelf. Each of these statues has like a sliding shelf for their casket. But aside from that and the library, there looks to be like bathing quarters and like a kill room and a lounge. You guys haven't really checked out too much, but as far as you can tell, there is no like massive like teleportation circle, kind of like the ones that the clergy have been teleporting you guys from island to island to island with. You don't see anything of that nature now.
All right, we could quickly turn these few rooms, see if they left any other clues. Renwick might want to redecorate the statues, make them a little bit more appealing to look at, and then we can start looking at if there's a way to plane travel or where there's an underdark. Hop over to the main island, pay last respects, and then go find an asshole to rip out his heart.
Yeah, it sounds like a good plan to me. I think later would like to start investigating each of the sleeping caskets underneath all the statues.
As you kind of check them out, go ahead and give me an investigation check. They kind of open, these like stone doors open with this sliding drawer that kind of slides out. A perfect place to place a coffin or a casket.
That's not bad. That's 14.
As you kind of you pull them all the way out and look, there's no caskets inside. They seem to be freshly moved. In fact, like you can see where the casket or coffin was once laying in the surrounding dust. It looks like it stayed there for some time, but has recently been moved. But there's nothing in particular about that. There's little coffin holder type of areas, except for there's three of them, and it looks like each statue has its own. And of course, Lord Perch's is far bigger than the other two.
Well, they definitely clear these out. I mean, they don't exactly seem like careless or unintelligent folks, so they probably took anything important with them, but I think it's still a good idea to check out the rest of these rooms here. I call dibs on not going to the feeding room.
I'll go take a look in the feeding room.
Okay, you walk into this like kill room of sorts. It's full of blood-stained cages and chains mounted to stone walls. The floor and walls are stained with a blood splatter. There's a small drain in the center of it, and aside from that, the room is empty.
Locris will try and take a chain from the wall,
Okay.
especially if it has a manacle still on it.
Okay, yeah, you can take your time and try to remove one of these mounted chains and make it your own for sure. You gotta, after give it 20, 30 minutes or so, you'll have a set of manacles with about 10 feet of chain attached to it.
Yep, this room's clear. And then go into the lounge and look.
So in the lounge, it looks like to have a small stone fireplace illuminates this room. It looks like there's a few comfy-looking couches and chairs, as well as a full bar. Behind the bar look to be countless bottles of different varieties of alcohol stacked to the roof. And amongst them, Locris, you notice kind of right off the bat, since you've kind of been studying a little bit about the other planes, you notice a vampire exclusive drink, blood wine. Near the bar, this comfy looking armchair sits next to this small end table. And atop this end table is this half drink opened a bottle of blood wine. And given your kind of recent like studying side quest like downtime activities, you would have probably come across blood wine as a common beverage served only in the Shadowfell. Aside from that, go ahead and give me an investigation check as you kind of peer around the room.
Also, I think Glader would have followed him into the lounge and seen the wall of liquor bottles, just grabbed like an arms full of liquor bottles, and then carried one back, handed one off to Renwick, but then just went to find one of the two bag of holdings we have and just kind of like one by one just drop the bottles of liquor.
Give me a perception check, Gladir, as you do this.
14, and he would take the bottle of blood wine.
Okay, for sure. Take the bottle of blood wine. As you kind of look about, it looks like there's a few pieces of parchment here and there, but it's just kind of like idly discarded. Doesn't look to anything of importance, but you do notice like several places in the dust, particularly in a few drawers you kind of stumble across in the room. It looks like a lot of things were moved. Heavy books, or maybe centerpieces on a table. It looks like the place was recently cleaned out. But from what you can gather, you do pick up a few tidbits. It looks like a letter or two between unknown people. You can assume perhaps Lord Perch. But it appears that it's a mixture between being proud of how successful he has become, almost like talking himself up to someone, and so it's kind of like a correspondence, if you will. You find a bunch of letters that are dated some time ago, but it is like amorphous Perches. And some other person, they're back and forth,
But I don't know who the other person is.
It's kind of hard using the context clues, but apparently it is a business person. It's almost written in like a code, but apparently there is a business person who is doing very well and making him a lot of money, and he's very proud of them.
Okay, I'll just take the correspondence.
That's a 18 on my perception check.
As you grab all these bottles, Gladir, you're loading them up. They have weird names. Michael, Thomas, Brandy, Michelle. And you quickly realize that this is not a regular wine. These are individual bottles of wine that it is in fact blood wine. This is not a consumable for mortals type of wine. This is would likely poison and or kill or curse you should you manage to drink a bottle.
Yeah, Glader's gonna about face and put them all back. Hey, nope, fuck that. This is not what I thought it was. I thought we were getting some free liquor.
Well, you can still take a couple. You can always use it to maybe bribe a vampire or two. Not like it's not like you could put the blood back in a person.
Fair. Well, why don't you take a couple more? I see you got one right there. Why don't we take a couple more just in case? We'll
Take
grab
4
some.
more and put them in my bag of holding.
Okay, for sure.
Especially the one named Brandy.
Okay.
Guys, I know that we have a plan, but part of me is kind of hoping that it takes us by my homeland with all this stuff happening to parents. No offense, guys. I would like to check on my mother at least at some point. Make sure she's okay.
Did the map I found show anything going towards Logos's homeland?
No, it's kind of a crescent moon. It looks to originate in the Alliance Isles, and it reaches out to both Hordenshire and Brightwood.
Yeah, I don't know. This map shows Hordenshire, which we know they were active in, and Brightwood. I don't know if it was my subset or just a bunch of elves. Don't really see anything going towards where you're from.
No, I'm from Nightwoods, but it just makes me nervous is all. Seems like our best shot for any kind of answers might be going towards Brightwoods then, huh?
I don't think specifically to my hometown, just because we're not going to stop anything until we get to Shadowfell. Even if we get to Brightwood, find out they're there, nothing's going to change until we kill these assholes. So,
Yeah, but at the same time, isn't the best way to get him out? Because are we sure we want to go to Shadowfell and fight these shadow vampires that are over there on their homeland? I mean, if we went to Hordenshire, took apart his operation there, the Alliance Islands where we took his part, we're obviously getting to him. So if this map is to say anything, then he's obviously got something going on in Brighton. And if we take that down too, we might piss him off enough to make him come to us instead of us having no idea what we're going into if we try to go to him.
or he stays hidden, waits about 50 years until most of us are dead or can't fight, and reestablishes his connection. That's what I would do. Why be in a hurry?
Because he's obviously emotional if he's killing mothers. No offense, Renwit. He's obviously pissed off that we're fucking it around or messing around in his business. I think that we keep hitting him where it hurts, dismantling his businesses and his operation. Make that son of a bitch come to us and we fight him on our terms, not on his.
Well, to be perfectly blunt, I don't even give a damn that he's taking people from Brightwood.
It's not
That's
about
the
that,
honest
though.
truth.
I mean, I believe you, but it's about getting him riled up more than anything. We don't even know what's going on in Brightwood, but we know that he cares about what he's doing. And I think our best bet is making him or his little lackeys come to us by doing what we've been doing.
Yeah, I agree. We just gotta keep pissing them off.
Yeah, I'm not that patient. I'm going to Shadowfell. You guys could go to Brightwood. You could go to Nightwood. That's fine. I'm going to Shadowfell. And I'm going to find out what's going on there. And if I come across something, I'll deal with it then. And Lucas will turn around and start to head out.
Well, I guess we could piss him off from the Shadowfell.
Gladiator, you gotta be. I think it's incredibly stupid that we are going directly to him when it's clearly what he wants on his terms in his arena. We don't even know what we're walking into.
But how many more people are gonna die? Or be fucking sacrificed, or eaten, or turned into a fucking gray, or God knows what else, while we try to piss him off?
For all we know, that's happening in Brightwood now. And by us trying, and it's no use to anybody if we go to Shadow Realm and die. We don't know what we're walking into. I'm all about scouting and seeing. But if it means walking into death, I don't know if I can follow y'all that far. If y'all want to see what Shadowfell's about, I'll follow you to a certain point, but I have my own business and I'm not on a suicide mission either. I want to kill these people as much as you do, but I'm not going to be stupid about it.
No, I don't think any of us want to die. We're not going on any suicide mission, but we do need more information, and I think, I mean, it's not a bad place to gather information if that's where they're from. They may be operating in our plane, but they're from the Shadowfell.
The type of creatures we're dealing with, they don't hesitate. And scouting, it just buys them more time. They move fast, and they leave plague and destruction in their wake. So if we sit back and play the long game and scout and try to draw them to us, it's only going to prolong it. It's only going to grow the death count. It's only going to get more innocents killed. At least if we go to Shadowfell, we can start looking for information on them. It doesn't mean we're going to run into them the first second we're there, but at least we can get to know what we're up against a little bit better.
Also, it's hard to play the long game with someone who lives 10 times your lifespan.
Well, I can see there's no point in arguing anymore.
No, I'm not going
That's
to
it.
let
I'll
you. Don't worry.
I mean, to
Like
be
I said,
fair,
I'll
we haven't heard from one member of the party. And Renwick just kind of looks over at Blade.
It is true.
Blade will just be kind of petting his donkey and just in and out of it. But
I love that visual of everybody like in a heated thing, and Blade's like, no fucks given, just petting his new donkey.
thing's sweet. Have you guys seen this thing?
Blade's like, what? Huh? Yeah, we're talking to me.
I mean, it's hard because yes, we are walking behind enemy lines. I mean, we constantly are, but I believe Renwick is right. It's the longer we wait, the more people are going to suffer, and we need to bring it to them. And we're an adaptive group, and I pride myself on that. We've overcome a lot, and I believe that if we take it cautiously and move ahead, we can maybe stand a chance.
Well, clearly I'm outnumbered here, but I just felt that I had to convey that I believe this is incredibly stupid, but now that I think about it, most of our ideas are incredibly stupid. This is really,
Well,
it's scary. I'm scared. My father was last seen fighting a shadow dragon. That does not bode well at all. Your mother's been murdered. Your whole family's been murdered. I'm afraid of what I'll find there, to be honest.
So, as the party kind of finishes up looking about in this like large crypt area, how does the party proceed from here? What are your guys' plans?
I feel like the party would be kind of like fractured in a sense right now, since we're all kind of dealing with our own things. And Logus would have had no reason to stay down there after the argument. He probably would have head back up, get out of that damp crypt that smells of death. Probably were all the hellhounds dead in the boxes, or were there still some alive?
It appeared that Tilinara beat you guys down there and is aware of most of what was going on. She didn't actually tamper with the box or anything, but Tilinara beat you guys down there, and she is the reason that all of the dogs were slain. So none of them lived. She took them out once she discovered the tomb.
Well, then, if everything's cleared out, Logus probably would have head up top, waited for everyone to come out, but kind of got some air and space after that tense moment, and kind of just taking everything in. Maybe like sit on the edge and kind of look out into the water for a little bit, be all dramatic.
Be emo.
That's what I thought too. Like alternative rock cover.
Well, once Locris left downstairs, he would have went straight looking for Bo and Tilinara.
Okay, yeah. You make your way back into the Grand Cathedral, and up on the 7th floor, you do find Bo Brightglow kind of just tending to his temple. He kind of looks at you. Oh, you! What? What can you do for you?
Do you know how to get to Shadowfell?
Ooh, that's not a place most people want to go, but yeah, I suppose I do. Best way to get to Shadowfell from the material plane is the Underdark. The veil is thinnest there. It is easiest to get from, which is where they bleed over. The two realms of darkness kind of feed one another sometimes. One might slip from one realm to the other.
Where would I find the Underdark?
Ooh, the Underdark is very, very. The caves of the surface are nowhere even close to the Underdark, but the Underdark is deep, deep within the crust of the earth. The best way to get to the Underdark, I mean, it's weeks of travel through the Earth's crust, but if I were you, I would say the best way to the domain of the Drow, which is the Dark Elves that are known to frequent the Underdark, is to ask the Surface Elves. I imagine, as they are enemies, they probably know ways of entering unnoticed, if you will, or perhaps usually they would defend against incursions from the subterranean elves, so they would at least know which deep, dark caverns you would need to traverse. But knowing elves, they've always got a fancy way,
Well, already expecting the answer. Would Wood Elves know, or would I have to speak to the assholes in Brightwood?
Well, that is a good question. The drow do not like surface elves, high elf or wood elf, so I imagine it is an enemy triangle, if you will. Why the wood elves and high elves don't necessarily see eye to eye. They are not enemies.
Okay. Do you know if anybody has a navy?
A navy?
And I'll pull out the atlas and found the routes they're using to ship slaves. If you could get it to anybody who can take over those ships or destroy them, could really put a hamper on the whole affair.
His eyes kind of go big as he looks over this map. And I'll certainly, I will see that this gets into the right hands.
You might want to have a talk with Renwick. He's going through something right now.
Yes, I felt that the place was of evil intent. Lost a loved one, did he?
In the worst way. I should know. Almost got stabbed for it.
He looks at you confused. Well, I'll look out for him. We'll send a package to his father, perhaps.
Would you be able to get us back to the main island?
With about a day's notice, I can prepare the teleportation circle and send you for sure. But I will need a day to prepare.
Yeah, I'm sure that's fine. Give him time to prepare himself as well. And then Locris will turn and walk away.
Bo kind of goes about setting up the teleportation ritual.
And then he'll look for Renwick.
As you guys kind of meet up, kind of halfway, the party freshly coming up from this little crypt, and Locris coming out of the cathedral. You guys do kind of meet up on the grounds of Hero's Perch in this very large, well-kept, cemetery and graveyard.
Hey, Renwick.
Yeah.
Bo said he could get us back to the main island tomorrow so we can make the travels up north. Probably important to pay your last respects before so that you don't have to worry about missing that ability. Should, Locus end up being right and the Shadowfell claiming a few bodies.
I think he kind of stands there stunned for a second because it's not entirely like you to be that sentimental in a way, but like I think a single tear rolls down and he just says, I greatly appreciate that. I think I'll definitely be able to get my head a little straighter for the forthcoming battles if I'm able to at least Lay her to rest. She deserves that. And we've got to tell my dad. Oh, fuck. We've got to tell my dad.
Bo was going to send a package to your father. Might get there before we do.
Oh, let's hope. I don't want to have to be the one to break the news to him.
But despite that whole argument ended up being probably for naught, we have to go talk to some elves, which means Brightwood and Nightwood, to find a way to get to the Drow in the Underdark. So, he'll get part of his wish.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose in the time it takes us to get back, so that we can go to the cliff and lay my mom to rest. It'll give us time to decide which one we go to first.
Well, either way, we'll have to find a ship. Yours isn't very seaworthy right now.
It's not really ideal to point out losing 2 family members. I love that ship like a brother.
Yeah. That was just to make up for the sweetness from earlier, balancing act.
Oh, you're like a reverse Sour Patch Kid.
All right, let's find somewhere to hole up and, I guess, discuss strategy.
As you guys are kind of like outside the cathedral at this point, you notice kind of near the front door of the cathedral, there is a large green tent. This large green tent looks to be held together by like leaves that are individually sewn. And it just kind of, it just screams druid, And as you guys kind of are in this general vicinity, a rather handsome gentleman comes stumbling out of it, and he looks to be kind of in a hurry and buttoning up his shirt haphazardly as he throws a lute over his shoulder and kind of looking both ways, very suspicious, like takes off, and there are several autumn-colored leaves kind of bunched in his hair that kind of follow him out. And as he exits, so does yet another. Looks to be a bard of some sort. This one carrying a harp, who is also hastily buckling his pants as he seems to flee the area. Looks to be smattered with a gold smothering of leaves. And a kind of dreary-eyed Tilinara follows the this procession, and takes a long, deep drag off of a pipe, and kind of blows the smoke, and kind of eyeballs the party, kind of gives you guys a good nod.
Well, Blade, I guess you're not that special. You're just a type.
I have
Blade just takes a big
to say that
sigh.
woman might be my hero.
Well, I gotta give it to her. That's she's got a type and she sticks to it. Blade will just kind of like make eye contact and nod.
She winks, and as she blows the smoke in your direction, it shapes itself to a heart.
You might want to see a doctor, though. Maybe get some antitoxins, because you don't know what's being passed around, and you already had one crab. I don't think you want more.
No, I think I'll stick to Archie. And yeah, you're right. Maybe I should take have maybe someone in the temple check me out.
Well, I mean, if you want to have another venture, I could cast a protection from disease on you if you'd like. Or I could restore you to a certain capacity once you're done. Don't let frugal things like that get in the way of you having fun. I got you.
Blade chuckles. It's good to know that my team has my back and a safety net to fall on. Thank you.
Hey, when you get laid, we all get laid. Wait, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, you kind of just made it weird there.
It was a little weird, but it came from a good place, and thank you.
It's a thought that counts.
Okay, so as you guys are kind of catching up and whatnot, it takes about 24 hours for the teleportation circle to be prepared proper. So your choices of where you gain another long rest. Wow, 3 in one show, crazy, or one session. But so the Tilinara offers her tent. Obviously, being a druid, she's not actually in it a whole hell of a lot. She's caring for some of the wounded. Also, you guys have the run of the Hall of Pelor, where you guys had, I believe, briefly stayed once before, and so you can kind of pick where you would lay your head for the time being. But as you guys kind of come to and come around to the following morn with the teleportation circle ready. Prior to the ritual of the circle being completed, you guys do watch Tilinara once again use her powers to restore a couple hundred churchgoers from that are suffering from the graying, and the clergy and all that kind of come together and help escort these people and kind of fill them in on what's happening exactly. And yeah, so aside from that, is there anything you guys need to do before departing for the mainland?
I just need to make sure I have Tony and my dog with me. I keep forgetting about them.
Blade, do you need like a 15 to 30 minutes to go say goodbye to Tilinar real quick?
Oh, probably should. It's probably would be appropriate. I'll go talk to Tilly for a little bit. Could would
15 to
would one of you mind holding the Gibraltars for me?
Yeah, and then Vader just kind of walks up and just kind of like, straightens out his like coat and cloak and like brushes his hair out of his face and just slaps him on his cheeks. All right, now go make us proud.
Blade will nod his head.
Logus will go to Gladier. 15 to 30 minutes, that's quite generous. And can I make a animal handling check on Gibraltar, see if he likes me?
Sure, go ahead.
Which one?
There are
I'll
two
do
now.
a general
There
check
are
for
two.
both. I got a 19 total. The animals fucking love me, dude. Stop.
Yeah, you've got an affinity with nature, and you just know where the right spot to scratch behind the ear is, and the donkey seems to at least not dislike you for the time being.
I'll give him a good berry. And for the mechanic one, I don't know what they eat. So I'll just give him some scritches.
They both seem happy to be receiving some sort of affection. So as Tilandara kind of finishes this ritual, it does leave her kind of like on a knee and gasping for breath. And as she kind of collects herself, Bo Brightglow puts the finishing touches on the teleportation circle, and kind of ushers you guys towards it. Once again, anything you need to do? Do you have something in mind there, Blade?
Nothing in particular. He would just kind of say like, thank you again for everything. It's really been an incredible journey, and thank you for everything you've done and helping me and my party. And I'll be thinking of you, and just kind of be awkward about it, and just kind of like, and just take care of yourself.
She pinches your cheek, and gives you a wink. She says, "Don't worry. Well, what we had was special. I'll remember."
Blade will kind of like turn his head and just be like, I still got it. But yeah, after that, he'll kind of make his way back to the party and prepare for travel.
Okay, so the party with all of the animals in tow, mechanical and real alike, all manage to get their way into this teleportation circle, and with a flash of light, you guys find yourself, looking about in a room that is brand new, a different part of the world altogether. Once again, you seem to interrupt like a ceremony or mass as you kind of come out of the bottom cellar of this like Church of Pelor. You kind of come from a room behind the altar, and the priest is giving a sermon, and there's several a dozen people packed into the pews, and you get a lot of awkward looks from the even from the cleric. But you guys are kind of well recognized heroes. So at this point, you're semi-famous in Tuscargo. So confused but accepted. The crowd doesn't like say much. Maybe a few hushed whispers behind your back. But alas, arriving in Tuscargo proper.
Renwick would have flashed his badge.
My passive perception is like 25. What are they whispering about us?
You catch them saying like, "Oh, that's weird. Like, why are the Knights of Justice here? Like, is there some kind of crime going on? Like, do they pray to Pelor, or are they Pelor worshippers? Like just a weird gossip and rumors."
Logan sort of like just Jude craft some flowers and hand them out. Have no fear, everyone. The sands of justice are here. We'll take care of it. Just not knowing, have no idea just to kind of freak them out a little bit. They don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
You do hear some
Just
hushed
hand them
murmurs.
some flowers.
All right. Do we want to look for horses and make the trip north?
To get back to, or wait, was it north side or south side? Oh my god.
North
You're
side,
in the
south side,
north
what's the dock?
Yeah.
North side is where the crooked cock is.
That makes sense. I was like second guessing myself. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I picked north side. And I was trying to find my backstory on my character sheet to double check. But yeah, I think the move is
Right,
just
unless
to
you
get
want
back
to
to
go
north side.
shopping. Unless you want another shopping episode.
Yeah, I am flush with coin, but I have priorities right now, I guess.
Okay, so as you guys kind of come together, are you guys planning on purchasing mounts or just hoofing? I guess you guys have some mounts at least.
Yeah, we do have 2 donkeys here that we could ride if Gibraltar's don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, that seems fine. If anything, we could buy a cart and just tie it to the 2 donkeys and haul everything.
Yeah, I think I might break the donkey's back.
I mean, one of them's clockwork. I think it could handle you.
Yeah, the clockwork one would probably be fine, but the regular one probably not. I'm like, I think I'm weighing in at like 500 pounds right now with my weight in my inventory. So yeah, I mean, we got to. Excuse me, sorry. We got the cash. I think Glader's just gonna buy a fucking horse. The worst case scenario, he leaves it with um Renwick's dad until they're back on this island at some point.
Gladiator, if you would like to ride me, I can turn into a horse.
I don't know if I like the way you phrase that.
I think it's
I didn't
probably
even
best
say
we just hit the stables.
I didn't even say anything weird. You ride a horse, I can turn into a horse. You'd be riding me.
It's not what you said, it's how you said it. The way you phrased it, it just you know
I said
it's
what I
not-
meant. If you to, you can ride me. I can turn into a horse. There's nothing weird about it.
no, but it would also I do appreciate the offer, but it would also be nice to just have a mount because I did have a horse at one point, and then I think we left it somewhere, and I can't even remember.
Well,
It's all just a flash.
well, the offer's always there, big boy. You can ride me if I turn into a horse anytime.
Listen, I understand that I have a standing invitation to your dark hole, and I will take you up on it when I feel the need.
No, no, my dark hole is for Renwick only. You can ride me as a horse.
Well, this is just a lot of semantics. Anyways, where are the stables at?
Yeah, you find your way to some stables, and and for the sake of brevity, you can purchase a horse at at cost. They're not gonna bust your balls too much on it or anything. But yeah, if you guys want to collect some mounts or maybe a wagon or two, easily done in the big city of Tuscargo. You just let me know what you pick up, and we'll hash out the coinage later. So as you guys kind of gather yourselves and make your way north towards north side Tuscargo, you do eventually come upon where there were some burnt out ships, it looks, from fighting that were being repaired, and you notice a sizable fleet out guarding many merchant ships that are docking and unloading their wares. And as you guys kind of make your way down towards the Crooked Cock, once you guys had left it all, boarded up and whatnot, it looks like a warm, glowing fire within. There's smoke coming from the chimney. You see that it looks like the sign has been removed. Maybe it was damaged or something, but the Crooked Cock sign looks to be have taken down for the time being. And you see Renwick's father kind of standing out just beyond, just in front of the tavern, kind of looking out to the sea. And as he sees you guys coming, he gets excited. You can see visibly, and he straightens his posture and smooths out his shirt, and it happens to be holding a bouquet of flowers as he kind of eagerly awaits your arrival.
God damn it!
Uh, Logus probably would have. Maybe we should stay back, guys. Let these two have a moment. And he kind of would have stopped a little bit behind and kind of give Renwick and his some room.
Yes, yep.
I think you guys
Sure.
would see Renwick would kind of nod at you as you take that social cue, and he'll keep walking toward his dad. And in the distance, like, you guys just see him. He hugs his dad, but then he kind of begins to like shudder and like as if he's crying into his dad. And then he stands up and he rights himself and he reaches into his armor and he pulls out the apron and just puts it in his dad's hand. And you see, I would imagine, I guess, Sean, you dictate his reaction, but like Renwick just places it in his hand and he's just kind of like hunched over a little bit, sobbing.
You see, you guys looking on can kind of see like this jovial, red-faced, kind of cherry-chubbed, cheeked man, kind of just excited to see you. And then once Renwick hands this over, it's like all the color drains from his face. Like he almost looks like he's returned to some form of the graying. And he says nothing, but embraces Renwick briefly, and takes the apron and drags himself into the inn.
And Renwick will gesture for the party to come inside, and he'll follow him in.
You see, Renwick, that your pa cleaned up the place a bit. Must have found a bit of gold, and he, aside from keeping the place restocked and clean, you notice something you hadn't that hadn't been there before. It's a shelf on kind of behind the bar, and on this shelf is a single candle, a picture, like a painting of your mother, and now this apron that your father just kind of very delicately and carefully folds and places upon this shelf. And he kind of just sits there longingly and kind of welcomes the party in. He pours you guys around and whatnot, but very kind of in a silent, grim mood. He just kind of hoovers around this little shrine he's built and doesn't say much, kind of looks on.
And for sake of brevity, I think Renwick would give his dad a little bit of time, but then go talk to him and explain that he wants to go to the cliffs, where they got married, and lay her remains to rest there. And then I assume we could probably fast forward to said ceremony where they, go to the cliffs around sunset and have a bit of a quiet memorial, and then fast forward back to the tavern.
Yeah, for sure. As you guys kind of go have this moment for Renwick's lost loved one, a good ceremony. A few words are said. James Turner sheds a tear or two, but upon coming back, he's got almost like a weight lifted off his shoulders, like a sigh of relief. Like he's still sad, but knowing kind of makes everything a little easier. And he, in the time it takes to get the ceremony going and whatnot, has managed to place an incense and an offering bowl on this little shelf dedicated to his long lost wife. He kind of upset, but he comes to you, Renwick, and tells you, I think I'm gonna give up sailing for a while. This place meant a lot to your mother, and I think I'd do right to run a tight ship here at home in her honor. So I'm thinking about changing the name too. What do you think about the Grey Maiden?
I think that's I think that's a wonderful idea. And
In her memory.
quite frankly, I I don't think you should be out on the water anytime soon. It's nice having you back at home. So you do right by her, and you keep this place going for her. And me and the gang here will set out and make sure that her death's not in vain, and that the people responsible for her death and the death of so many others, that they get what's coming to them.
He nods and grabs your tentacle hand and pulls you in close for a hug, And he looks you, grabs you by the shoulder and leans his forehead into yours, and he's staring you in the eyes, and he says, you're a grown man. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. But Renwick, you come back. Don't leave me alone here. Do what you do with your friends. See the adventure. Sow the wild oats. Get our justice. But come home when you're done.
You know I will.
Good, because I'm renovating your room, so I need you to leave for a while anyway. And he kind of pours himself a shot of whiskey and gives you a good ribbing, a good elbow, and continues to kind of look longingly at this picture of your madre.
I'll just wink at him and be like, well, you better pour a second one of those, because we're toasting. Not only are we home, but now we're business partners. And he'll lay down 200 platinum, and just this right here should get things back in order, spruce things up a bit, do right by Bum, make the Grey Maiden something truly special.
His eyes like almost bulge out of his head when he sees that much currency on the table, and he looks at you with and mouths the word like "the fuck" as he kind of looks back to this huge pile of coins.
You just have to trust me. The boys and I have been busy, and well, sometimes it pays to be the hero.
He happily takes the coins and is free with the whiskey. You, him, and your party being the only people in the tavern at the time.
And naturally, I'll have my lawyer call your lawyer to set up, however it is that I'll be taking my cut of the business on a weekly or monthly basis, however you so choose. But just kind of ripping his dad back. But
he looks confused for a moment. He's like, "Shite, I'm pretty sure our lawyer was a vampire. I'm gonna have to be looking for a new one."
well, that was pretty good.
So as you guys kind of get comfortable, and there are a few rooms available in the inn, and the inn itself. You guys kind of have free reign of it for the time being, and through with a few I guess not really phone calls, pulling a few strings through Renwick's father. He is able to charter you guys passage on a ship. They'll be all too happy to take some knights of Borsland on official business to the borders of the Alliance Islands. They are happy to take you to the nearest port, which would actually be, in order to get to Nightwood from your current position, you would have to go through Brightwood anyways. So the closest nation of elves happens to be Brightwood, and the passage is booked for about a day out, about 24 hours or so. So you guys got a day to hang out in Northside Tuscargo and drink and plot and kind of relax and hang out in Renwick's family's tavern. But I think it is at this point where we will have to call her quits for the time being. End the session proper.
So did we get our fourth long rest there at the end?
Yeah, four. I made up for 3 sessions with none. You got four long rests in there.
God damn.
So a happy episode.
Yeah.
I think I have
well-rested
to
episode.
drop.
I mean, we did make like over 14K a piece, and my fancy trident works for my class. So like, there were some positives. I also thought that my mom was going to be turned into some sort of vampire or like feral something or other. So just having her already eaten, I'm not sure if that was better or worse, but either way, it almost made me cry and it hurt my heart deeply. So good on you, Sean, because that really, the apron, man, that was the, oof, that was the moment it really set in.
I thought
And
about
it
making her
hurt.
a monster, but I also was unaware of potentially giving you guys a level, and it was Locris and Gladier's powers. I wasn't sure on. Like, fuck, if I make her a zombie, they're gonna bring her back or something.
Well played, sir. That was excellent writing, and it hurts, and that's how you know it's good. God damn.
I mean, I
Oh,
don't have
and
too
the
much
Gray
much-
Maiden, dude, fucking excellent name.
And so just so we're all on the level, we'll make sure we're all level 9 at next time when we resume the campaign, whenever that may be. So, for the record, awesome. You guys made a huge haul and leveled up.
Yeah, I
Forgot
could
what it
finally
cost.
revive people.
So what was the total net of your guys' treasure? Like how much did you guys make per person, or for the party rather? Like what was the total
The
you guys chopped
total,
up?
it was, so let me see, 14 to 22 times 5. It was a little over 71,000 gold after we sold all those items off, combined with what we walked out of the place with.
Yeah, we're rich as fuck.
Because I think the 49K was basically the maximum amount of gold that all of us could carry, plus what we could cram into the bags of holding. So that 49 plus the 12, the additional 1,800, and then another 800 from beholder parts or something like that when I look back. But yeah, over 71,000 coin.
Yeah, speaking of, could we have hit like some sort of bank on the way and like transferred some of that into platinum?
Oh yeah.
I did ask that, he confirmed. So I converted most of mine to platinum.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
'cause-
the gnomes community is very rich in precious metals, so if you wanted to make the swap ski there, you could have pulled it off there for sure.
Yeah, because I'm currently at 22,000 total gold, but only 137 of that is platinum. So I'm like technically over my carrying capacity.
I think they have it like what is a uh, uh, 50 gold is a pound, I think is what the ratio is or something.
Yeah, I'm like trucking along. Also, for my mount, because of I bought a warhorse. I was like, I need the heaviest weight capacity.
Okay,
And
for
it's-
sure.
Yeah. I imagine it's just like a jet black Clydesdale type guy.
Very
But yeah,
nice. Hell yeah. Something
But
else
no.
to keep away from Logos, you know.
I know. I feel like I have to just have Logos jump off a cliff to save from the heartbreak. Jesus.
Yeah, that was intense.
God.
Like no one told me to put that I had a mother and a father in my backstory. I did that under my own power, and I regret it now.
Not as much as you
Is
will
that-
later.
You see, no mamas are safe with Sean, man. He don't like the mamas.
Just call me Roy Disney, you know?
Holy shit.
Well, dudes, it was an awesome sesh. I'm going to take off, but keep in touch, man. Let's do this again soon. Yeah?
For
All right,
sure.
sounds good, guys.
For sure.
See y'all later.
Uh,